All right, everybody, and welcome to another episode of FOUREVER. How we going, guys?
Fantastic, Rocco. Good to see you again, mate. Liam, Mark, always a pleasure.
How we doing?
Good, four losers here. How we all going, mate? Four fucking losers here. But anyway,
technically we didn't lose because we didn't play it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we'll be losers until the start of the year, man. Just remember that. There'll be only one winner. The rest are all losers, man. So big week in football this week, mate. Finals was extreme. First time I've enjoyed all the final games except for the Collingwood one, but admittedly that was a fairly good. Seeing Adelaide just drop away was far out, man.
Disgusting.
They could be the
my
biggest
mouth for
balls
2 hours.
And then the other games were just fucking. I reckon I enjoyed every single game. So there'll be a lot to talk about. There's been some rule changes potentially for next year. There's new idea for finals. There was some decisions made during the finals there that just are mind-boggling. I can't believe it, So we'll get into all that. We got heaps of people already in the chat. We got Lana, we got Lou Felino, we got Matula, everyone's favorite Greek. How you going? Of course, we got Bocek in there. He's a star, isn't he? Rocco Mort all the way from Perth. We got Frankie here. Mocha will be in teals. You get the popcorn out and strap yourself for the ride. I think
it's actually, Mark, I think it's officially 7,676 days since every team in the AFL has won a final except for Essendon now.
No, you read my mind, because while we're here, I was going to say there is, Mark was getting us to celebrate 30 years, but we actually have a 21st birthday today that I want to announce. And here it is. It's 21 years since the last final win. So happy 21st to Essendon. Well done. And the other one that we just want everyone to know is that since it's been an 18-team competition, Essendon is the only team that hasn't won a final. That's got to be cause for celebration, doesn't it? That's got to be cause for celebration, doesn't it?
Oh, you can celebrate. I'm
celebrating on your 21st. You know how big of a birthday that is, mate. 21 years, bro, man. That's like huge, man. Like usually you have a big birthday cake, you bring out the key to the city. How good is that, mate?
The party's only just started for you, Mark. There's plenty of news bubbling away about the Bombers in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, there is certainly, mate. But anyway, guys, good evening. Good evening to the rivals here, boys. I wasn't introduced earlier, so good evening and to the chat. But just quickly, we have two preliminary finals at the Melbourne State or the MCG, I guess. But this year, we don't see that very often, do we, boys? We don't see that very often. So
I saw that stat as well.
Kudos to the AFL. Kudos to the AFL for that.
Well, it's good to bring that up, Mark, because most people were predicting that this year's prelims would be completely interstate over at Adelaide and Brisbane. But we brought it. Well, unfortunately, one team, but another half-decent Victorian team has brought footy back home where it belongs.
So we've got.
You want to play finals football? You come to Victoria, mate.
You have to, man. That's where the grand final is for the next 25 years. So if you want to fucking win the grand final, you have to.
What the hell is that name?
Well, we got Abdullah Alphabet here, and the Cats will get to 17 before Carlton. So yeah, Mr. Alphabet. You know what? You're probably right. Sorry about that. So that's probably good. But welcome everyone in the chat.
Mate.
Far out. Cough has been 4 weeks. Welcome to everyone in the chat. Thanks. Make sure you like, subscribe. We've got one of our favorite Magpie Army Chronicles, Mick Sacker. Go over last week tips of the Pies game there. Don't worry. Don't worry, mate. Like, we'll go over the tips of last week. We all went for Adelaide. I think fucking 90% went for Adelaide, so don't get too fucking smart there. But Collingwood did end up winning, but that's just 2 more games. Closer you get, the more it's going to hurt you. So we'll see how we go. All right. Of course, man. Of course we're choking on wood. Isn't everyone choking on it? Let's be serious, man. Of course we're choking on the thought. That's the last thing we want, man. I want the furthest team away from Victoria to win this. So that's Gold Coast for me. I want the team to be as far away as possible, mate.
Or you think maybe Geelong would count? It seems like they're on the other side of the country the way they carry on, but
I don't smoke, mate, so I don't know what's funny about that. We got Manny Costo all the way from Greece. So welcome, Manny. And he's just saying, yeah, everyone wants out of Essendon, even the captain wants out of Essendon. That's fucking true. That's pretty bad when your captain wants to leave. But anyway, all right. I reckon we got some shit to talk about. Let's get
into it.
So there's going to be heaps of trades and that we're going to talk about. There's a few people on the move. There's a few people that have elected or selected other clubs to go to. So we'll get into that. There's a few captains that want to leave. There's a few star players that want to leave. So we'll talk about that. But the first thing I did want to talk about is some new rule changes that could be happening next year. I reckon this one will come on, and I've got a bit of a graphic. It's the AFL is set to propose last touch rule for 2026. This means between the arcs, last to touch the ball, it gets the free kick to the other side. Mate, I want to know your thoughts on this. Do you like it? You don't like it? I personally think it's already there, right? So it might as well happen now. It's already there, the last touch. I mean, it has to be something extraordinary for them not to pay the free kick. I actually like it only because it's going in that direction, right? It's already going in that direction. To tell you the truth, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have it at all. I like the old rule where you can knock it out of bounds. I love that, man. That I thought just leave it standard, man. The other thing I want to say about that rule there, if that's going to happen, which I think I will, TDK better become a fucking super ruckman around the ground next year, because guess what? You're taking away about 20-30% of the ruck duels next year. So he better become a super duper $1.8 million fucking rover, or else, that could be.
Don't forget, Goldstein better get his running boots on as well.
Yes, Goldstein better get his running boots on as well. Yeah. So, what do you reckon, Mark? I'm going to start with you. You're the rules man here. What do you reckon about that new rule coming up?
So, is it out of bounds, like as in like the kick, or is it just
anything
regardless of what? Anything. Even if you take on the boundary line and you put him over the boundary line, is it the last? Like the rule's got to be straightforward.
Yeah, no, there are like things like that. It's where if it's like you've disposed of the ball and it goes over the boundary, if it's in the middle of a contest and it crosses the line like you just described, then it'll just be a ball up or throw in.
Okay, so if there's a ball up, say 5 meters away from the boundary line, there's a ball up, and 2-3 players are contesting for the ball, and the player hits the ball, on the other player's knee or foot, and it goes out of bounds.
So that was another one that I think they're going to discuss. If you hit it onto someone else's knee, that might be a throw in.
Right. That's so there's already discrepancies there. So,
it's been. I believe
that rule come out to obviously the AFLW, and I think there's a South Australian competition that have that rule, and I think that they've brought that out because of the skill level. So obviously, the skill level of the women playing football, the ball obviously goes out of bounds a lot more often than the AFL. So therefore, they've given that freedom of continuously playing. It's going to be a bullshit rule. I believe honestly the ruckman will probably be an advantage to the ruckman due to the fact is, and the players, due to the fact is if the ball's going to go out of bounds, automatically those players are going to start being defensive. They're going to start running towards the defensive line, and there's going to be a lot more flooding. There's going to be a lot more intercepting of the forwards, taking marks because they already know the ball's going to go out of bounds. Free kick to Essendon. The ball's going to go forward. Most of those midfielders, most of the ruckmen are going to start pushing back, right? And it's going to create more flooding. That's what I believe. But I don't think the rule. Don't put this rule in. There's going to be too many more reviews, and the game's going to be slowed down. So don't do it. Let it go, and we move on. But everybody else has got their own opinions. But I don't believe it's going to work. Don't do it. Don't do it. The AFL. You've stuffed up.
Well, first of all, it will happen. So there's no don't do it. It will happen. 100% it's going to happen. And as I said, they're already doing it, Mark.
To what? The AFL women in South Australia?
No, in our game. They're already doing it.
Like deliberate, Mark.
The deliberate.
Deliberate is deliberate.
And then they just give it over. Like how many times? Every time the ball goes out now, the crowd screams out, oh, fucking deliberate. And the umpire gives it, right? It's already happening. The only thing is it's going to be now an official rule. That's all it's going to be. The only thing is they'll look at this, tapping it onto their leg, or if it's like in dispute, they'll throw it in, right? If they're not too sure, right? But at the end of the day, anytime you kick it, handball it, and it goes out, if you're the last person to touch it, bang, it goes. Instead of the you're waiting for the umpire to give you that decision. It's going to automatically go to the other player, full stop. That's how it's going to happen. It's already there, Mark.
Yeah,
I reckon it's a good idea.
Yeah, and if they make that decision to do that, what I'm trying to say is that automatically the teams are going to wake up to it and they're going to start saying, okay, all right, his hand passed it out of bounds and it's going to be an opposition free kick. Those players that used to go in, your midfielders and so forth, they're going to start now defending, and they're going to start, flooding the back line. I reckon that's what's going to happen. And we all say the ruckman is going to be gone, but the ruckman won't be gone, mate, because you don't want a 6'5" player starting to drift in the back line and start intercepting our forwards that are leading. So I believe what it's going to do, they're going to be smart about it. All right, free kick, opposition, let's start flooding back. Where now you've got the opportunity to bring the players back into the boundary line.
No, but they do it now, Mark. As soon as the ball gets kicked out, they know
it's going to be more. It's going to be more conscious. They're going to know that it's going to go out of bounds, and they
know what else they're going to do. You know what else is going to happen that you didn't think about? Players are actually going to try to keep it in now because they know it's the last touch. So they will. The ones that try to disguise it now and try to disguise it, and hopefully you get the decision to go your way, right? They won't disguise it anymore because there's no interpretation. If you try to handball and try to disguise it, trying to keep it in, but it's going to go out, that's not going to happen because if that goes out, it's against you. So in actual fact, it'll keep the game flowing more.
Okay.
I want to hear Liam's thoughts on this one, actually.
Liam.
Yeah.
I'm actually buying into a bit of what Mark's saying. He's kind of making a bit of sense because as we know with new rules, it's all how clubs interpret it. I think someone said it earlier in the comments is like, it'd be interesting to see how they interpret it. Reason why I think it's going to be a good rule, that deliberate out of bounds, it's cut out of the game, which is fantastic because it's a stupid rule. They get it wrong so often. If it's as simple as, right, last touch, opposition gets it, beautiful. How it'll be interesting is when it is in those sort of 50-50s and it's debating who actually touched it last or do they just throw it in. It'll be interesting to see how they deliberate that. But I think, biggest thing.
But aren't they bringing in, sorry, Liam, don't they want to bring in the camera for the last touch on the boundary anyway?
Well, I was kind of going to cover that in the next bit because I think one of the good reasons about this is that it's going to speed up the game. However, as you've said, if they start reviewing these things, then it kind of sort of defeats the purpose because it's going to slow it down. Like, have you seen how hard it is for him to get like a simple decision on the goal line? How long it takes him to do that? Imagine how hard it's going to be to do something in open play. Personally, I don't think it should happen. Like, it's either.
But
it's
how
either
many
clear,
times?
this team put it out, or if it's undecided, they'll be like, right, we're not sure, we'll ball it in.
I'm going to be devil's advocate.
How they interpret it.
I'm going to be devil's advocate through the whole thing here, right? Because, and I'll tell you now, how many times is there a dispute on who touched it last?
What, you mean currently or?
Yeah, currently. How many times do you really dispute it? It's not often.
Really a lot. Do you?
So it's not going to make that decision with the camera is not really going to come into play. It'll probably come in once a week in one game, maybe, right? So it's not that big of a deal. You're not wasting that much time. I think the most times that you really worry about it is, as I said, they kick the ball 20, 30 meters down the line and it bounces to the right and then it goes out. Now, instead of waiting for the umpire, is it deliberate, isn't deliberate, they're just going to say last man touching, you know. Look, don't get me wrong. Just like any other rule, there's going to be problems. Don't you worry about that.
Okay, so what happens? You're in the defensive 50, right? And you're passing that arc, and the ball gets kicked to the forward line, and Wedering punches the ball and punches it out of bounds. Is that?
No, it's not inside the 50. It's only between the arcs.
Yeah, between. That's what I'm saying. Like, your forward is still leading after the forward line, the forward arc, say 20 meters out of the actual forward arc. And your full back goes and whacks the ball and puts it out of bounds, not deliberately, but just a full punch.
Yeah, so punches it out. Well, then the way I understand it, that would be a free kick to the other side.
Well, that's just ridiculous. Right? You can't play football.
Gokhan has just clarified. If you punch it between the arcs, it's a throw-in. So they have accounted for these things. It's not so they're just bringing this in. So if I'm going for the ball towards the boundary line, running towards the ball, and the boundary line just decided to just punch it out. No, that's completely different, Mark. Like,
all right, but then it comes up with a good point there, Scotty. What if you punch it while you're inside the 50, but it goes outside the 50, outside the boundary?
Well, if you want to get into like the minutiae about such specific situations, we've got an entire season of the Sandful to fall back on and actually see these examples. And to counterpoint your point, Mark, in the Sandful, they've gone out of all the state leagues, they've gone from the highest amount of contests to the lowest, and the lowest scoring state league to the highest. So it has kind of done the opposite of what you're suggesting as well.
Well, yeah. Then why more states doing it then, buddy?
I think black and white. I think black and white is correct here. If
is he just
so like if you're both going for the ball and one punches it, that's a contest. They let that go, and that'll be a throw in. But it's about the ones that are just kicked down the line. Or you try to bloody,
it's a disposal, as Gokhan's clarified again. Yeah, if it's a disposal, that's the only thing that the rule affects.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll just leave it to the umpire's discretion, mate. Leave it up to the umpire's discretion and say.
What are you talking about?
That's what we've been doing for the last however many years with insufficient intent.
Well,
this is trying to remove the discretion. It's.
I tell you, I like it because it's already getting there anyway. If you kick the ball, don't tell me, Mark, that if the opposition kick the ball and it goes out, you don't think it's going to be a free kick to Essendon. Of course you do. You already know it's going to happen, right? It's very rare. Actually, when they do it and they call in a throw-in, the whole crowd goes, oh, like they're disappointed, So they're already doing it, bro. I'm telling you, you've got to take away the decisions from the umpire, in my opinion. I think it'll work, but there'll definitely be some hiccups. You watch.
Yeah, it's an evolution. We'll just have to wait and see how it pans out. I just wish with rule changes like this, I wish the media had a bit of self-control and allowed the AFL to make the announcement, and then they can have like a kind of like, you know, those have you ever seen those videos on YouTube the AFL have made where it's like AFL explained for like international audiences? If they had like a package prepared that would show, here's the new rule, and last touch out of bounds, and they might have like 3 specific examples. This is how it works, and this is how we'll go forward. I wish that the AFL could, have that announcement prepared and ready, so we don't have to have these kinds of conversations, and we know from the start this is how it's going to work and this is how it's going to look going forward.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
Enzo comes up
nice
with
to know.
I like this. My theory is they continue to change the rules. They are admitting they didn't get it right, and they should never have brought in the insufficient intent, and everything would have been. And that's 100% right. And I've said this before. It's called a wicked decision, right? And what that does is a wicked decision is when people make up a rule or a decision and not seeing ahead to what that's going to do in the future, what other disasters you're going to get. And every time they bring in a rule, they don't see what else is going to happen, So, and this is what happened. They brought in this rule, and now they have to bring in another rule to fix up the last rule. To me, should have always been bloody, if there was nothing wrong with the game 100 years, man. If you knock it out, just throw it in again, mate. There was nothing wrong with that. But they want to move the game quicker. And this is their idea. Liam?
It would be amusing. Sorry, Liam, but it would be amusing if in like the last couple minutes or like the last minute of a tight game, you saw a player kick it the opposite direction, like in rugby, where they just boot it as far down the field out of bounds as they could, just to move it down the opposite end. That'd be a bit crafty, but it would be interesting to see some of the more clever use of game mechanics over the next 12 months.
That's a very good point there. I like that point there, Scott.
It is,
like
that's back on what Mark was saying before. Like, it's exploiting the rule. If it's the Fremantle Gold Coast game the other day, and Gold Coast have it and they boot it far down the field, 50, 60 meters, get it out of play, they can flood the back line.
Yeah,
they'll be like, well, it's going to get turned over, but we can set up behind the ball. We can put 18 players behind the ball. So that's what I mean. That's where it's going to be interesting for the interpretation.
But can't that happen now, Liam? Can't you do that now? Can't you do that now?
Yeah, but the umpire will not make a decision.
Nah, bullshit. If you kick it and there's no one around and it goes out, they're going to give it to the other.
If it's close enough to a contest, they might not give it.
If there is a contest, but what we're saying is you just kick it out knowing that it's going to go out.
Yeah, but what Liam's trying to say is that the player will kick 50 metres along the boundary line.
100%.
It gives them an opportunity to rebound off that. So, I mean, look, it's 50-50,
100%, man. And I'll tell you now, like, it's every time they bring out a rule, the teams work around it where they start to work out tactics. But that happens with every single rule. Every single rule. They'll bring out a tactic, even all sorts of rules. Even I don't know, like even the 666 and that. I mean, they've got tactics for that too, you know what I mean? They bring it out, in the center square with the 4, Sometimes they get caught out with too many players in there. They know they're going to get a warning. Is that a tactic? Maybe, They got a little...
There are teams that definitely exploit that. Hawthorn especially, they're one of the worst offenders.
Yeah.
But one of the more interesting takes that I heard today about it at work, this guy, Richmond supporter, he said when we're talking about unexpected consequences, no, they haven't just had this in the women's league and the Sandful. They've had this for a while in the junior leagues, and his sons are playing under 10s now, and they have last touch out. And he says how it's affected them is that it's stopped them from learning how to use the width of the ground. because they're forced just to kick it down the guts. And maybe this is more, obviously it's specific to junior and developing players. He said that if he ever sees either of his sons kick it down the guts from full back, he's going to jump on the field and hit him over the head. Fair enough, they're under 10s. But even that, it's like there are some consequences there. Maybe will we see players be more keen to take on the corridor maybe, but if that's completely blocked, whether you can force stop or force freeze from skill errors coming out from the sides. But
yeah.
You're right.
I actually like it.
Also, I would be pretty impressed if some under 10s were able to use the full width of a footy oval as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it's pretty interesting that we'll eliminate the on the full rule then. You won't need to rule anymore because it doesn't matter how it goes out. It will be the last possession. Yeah. I reckon it'll take away some of that doubt that the umpire's got.
Yeah.
Instead of the umpire won't get to run in and be the hero for like 10 seconds as he lifts up his arm and he does the big, ooh, Yeah, he does that. He loves that. So that'll definitely take that out. But, Hey, talk about another thing. I want to talk about, before I get onto this other one, I want to talk about, there was a game, we'll get onto the game soon, but there was a game between Brisbane and Geelong, right? And there was a couple of free kicks there, right, which I think astounded everyone at the time, man. And there was 2 goals, within 0 seconds, really, because they were one after the other. Because of free kicks. What do you think of that, guys? Did you saw it, Mark, Liam, Scotty? You've all seen the free kicks?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I was pissing my long johns. I was cackling the whole time. I thought it was one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. But yeah, obviously it was a bit of a disgrace. And now that we've seen the full behind the goals footage and it provided a bit more context as to what had gone on previously, it is quite disappointing. Especially considering when the umps tend to put the whistle away, as they say in finals, except for something as egregious as this.
That's your mate, isn't it?
Yeah, Horatio. Check your DMs on Discord, please. But it's good to see you, mate. But frees definitely were there. Geelong are a bunch of thugs and just picking on a bisexual, interracial person of colour. They shouldn't have touched him or gone near him. It should have been 3 free kicks, if anything. And that that total thug, what's his name?
Who was in the back line?
The one that knocked him over that gave away the second kick. He should get 6 weeks for that.
Yeah.
But typical Geelong, they'll get away with everything, mate. They own the AFL.
Yeah. So what do you think? They got 3 free kicks that were off the ball. The first one was
the very first one. That wasn't to Rayner as well, was it?
No, the blonde head guy. What's his name?
Oh, Lohman. Yeah. Well, I think even if they were paying that from the start, I think everyone should have been aware. Look, they're vigilant. They're going to be on it. And Rayner would obviously have reminded the umpire, look, he's touching me up here. And then we saw that it was locked on to him. So whether he flopped or whether it's fair enough, it was a bump off the ball. I don't know. It's more like you say, you want to bring it to the umpire's discretion, Mark. That was up to his discretion, and he called a free kick in the goal square 150 meters off the ball when Geelong had a set shot on goal.
Yeah.
Do you agree with the whole situation, or
mate, ridiculous? I think the free kick, the first free kick was ridiculous. You just can't do that in football, mate. Especially being a final. But the second free kick that he got was acceptable. The Geelong player shouldn't have retaliated and pushed Rayner in the back, and obviously he deserved the second free kick. But the initial free kick, the umpires, absolutely ridiculous. It's gonna get to a case where it's gonna be a grand final. It's gonna be a lot closer than probably what it was, and that umpire should be suspended, as they say, to the rest of the year. But that's what happens in football. See, you're relying on the umpire. It's soft. I'm not going to blame Rayner. At the end of the day, he got pushed. He fell. He gets a free kick, has a shot at goal. A Geelong player retaliates, pushes Rayner again, and gets a second free kick, 2 goals in a row. So Geelong should have been a bit more wary about it, to be honest. But as for the umpires, absolutely ridiculous, Rocco.
I'm going to be devil's advocate again here, Ryan. Yeah. I'm going to be devil's advocate. And Lee Matthews said something that was interesting. Mate, you're 150 metres away from the ball. You should not be touching the other player at all.
Absolutely.
Why are you holding him? Why are you pushing him? Why? So, like he's pushed him in the back. Did Rayner milk it? Yes. Right? He milked it. But we're becoming like soccer, man. Like players are milking free kicks every single contest, right? So it's becoming part of the game. But let's be serious, man. Why did he even touch him? Like if I was a coach, I'd go, why did you fucking touch him when the ball's 150 meters away? What did that do? And then the second one, guaranteed that was a free kick, the second one, because he did it right in front of the umpire, yeah? But the first one, they're having a shot at goal. Why are you touching the player? Why? That could have cost you the game. Because why? What would that have proven?
No, I'd go back on you on that one, though. I get why you're upset with it, but what impact does that have on the game at the moment? He's 100.
It doesn't matter. You're not allowed to touch someone, Liam. You're not allowed to grab, push, touch a player while you're off the ball.
It's nowhere near the play.
It doesn't matter.
It would make zero impact.
So 150 meters away, I can do whatever I want to you?
It's a soft kick. That was a soft kick. And it's so far away from the... How can you drag it all the way from a forward 50 shot for another team to the goal square for another team?
Don't touch him.
It's not right.
If you were coach of Geelong, what would you have said to him?
He's doing his job. He's been sent down there to tag him.
Pushing a player in the back 150 meters away. Pushing a player in the back.
Your mate who's leaving, Charlie Kerner, down there in the forward line. You're telling me when it's up in your back 50 that people aren't punching him and elbowing him and stuff like that?
Yeah, and it happens all the time.
So we could see more free kicks like this.
I understand, Liam, that it happens all the time. I get it, right? What I'm saying is was it necessary for that Geelong player to push him in the back 150 meters away?
All right, but if you're saying that at the time, why are we not seeing free kicks all the time?
There should be.
One of the most egregious examples, Rocco. Do you remember last year in the first game against GWS at Marvel when we had a set shot on goal, and while that was going on, Jesse Hogan punched Lewis Young square in the jaw. There was no free kick given there, but by the letter of the law, it should have been a free kick to advantage after our set shot. Nothing was paid there. I suppose, yeah, as you're saying, to the letter of the law, it was there, and definitely the second one. If we're talking about also we won't see that ever paid again, at least for the rest of the year.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is what Lee Matthews said was correct at the end of the day. At the letter of law, you shouldn't be touching a player 150 meters away. Don't touch him. Do not touch him, right? When the ball comes in your vicinity, yeah, but don't touch him, because I'm telling you, what happens if you lose that game, Liam? And you lose that game, you reckon Chris Scott wouldn't have gone, what the fuck were you doing that for? And you, the second player that came in, why did you go in? Why? What did that achieve?
Yeah,
you're going to show toughness. What was that? I'm talking about the second free kick when he came in and pushed him. And they got the second
one was stupid. He shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, that was stupid. I think the first one was stupid too. Shouldn't have touched him. But the other thing I heard that it came out that the umpire had warned them. They've been doing that stuff for the last 5 minutes, and he's gone up to him and he's warned them. I'm watching you, right? Be careful, right? And then he went and pushed him in the back. So if that's the case, he got warned. He knows the umpire is looking, right? And then he goes and pushes him in the back. Don't get me wrong. I think it's soft too. All I'm saying is, like, I do understand, man. You're in a final. Be careful. Don't fuck up one free kick like that, and then you could lose it, mate. They brought it from 33 back to like 17 or 15 at a half time.
Yeah.
That could have easily have turned, you know. So
yeah, one of the other bigger voices. Well, David King was more championing this cause, but when we saw the behind the goals vision and Rayner, he said he was up in his face, in his grill. No player should ever do this. What a horrible look for football and for young players and all that shit. And then to have that decision go his way afterwards, that's what a lot of people are up in arms too. But I just think that Geelong smashed Brisbane here, especially after Brisbane had smashed Geelong and strolled straight into a prelim final, and they're still crying about Cam Rayner.
Yeah. Nah, listen, look, at the end of the day, Geelong should have won that game easily, and they did, even after they did it. We're just talking about those free kicks. I think Geelong will be better for it. I guarantee that Geelong will not be doing any of that shit in the next two games. I guarantee that Chris Scott would have got straight into him and said, mate, you play the ball. Don't worry about what Rayner's doing. And that actually lifted Rayner a bit. There was a chance for him to kick a goal from 50 or 40.
Yeah,
if he had kicked that, he would have really pumped up the team, you know. So I reckon it was a bit soft, don't get me wrong. But, mate, it could have changed the whole game. Mate, I'll be saying do not touch the players. Do not touch the players when you're off the ball. And plus, because it was 150 metres away, that too, you know, kind of like makes you think like, man, they were going for goal, and then all of a sudden Brisbane are kicking it from the goal line, you know. So, but that's the rules also.
The down the field free kick, it is supposed to be the point of most advantage to the offended team, which obviously would have been right in the fucking goal square. If the free kick had just been reversed in Geelong's forward 50 from where I think Stengel had the ball, I don't think anybody really would have cared at the end of the day.
Should they maybe make it that from the middle then? If you're past the forward line,
if it's past a certain, yeah, maybe.
It's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting. So there was Liam.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were going to do. I thought when I was watching it live, I thought they were just going to reverse it and give it to the player at that direct contest, not drag it. When I saw them going all the way down to the goal square, I was like, wait, what? Where are we going? How does that work? Yeah, it still doesn't make sense to me how you can do that.
It's the last player as a Geelong player that you want to see getting those kicks to, because he can just get in people's heads and he just has that smart ass attitude. He'll make you pay for it too.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, man. So it was really interesting, man. I actually enjoyed that game too. We'll talk about the games a bit later, but yeah, Brisbane look like they got a couple of injuries now, so they're going to go into a final and then possibly a preliminary final if they get over the Suns with missing some players. We'll get into another one I want to talk about. So there was word about, so they're going to bring this to the commission in the next couple of weeks, and it is this one here. It is AFL's looking into a wildcard round for 2026. Now, what does this mean? I'll tell you exactly what it means. It means that Carlton could have possibly been, I don't know where we finished, but whoever finished 10th could have possibly been played 7th for a shot in the finals after winning 6 or 7 less games. Right, so the proposal is that 7th will play 10th and 8th will play 9th for 2 spots in the final. That could be the idea. We know why they're doing it, because it's more money, more games. I mean, now all of a sudden it goes all the way to 10th as finals. Do you really want that? I don't like it. You're not good enough to make the 8. You don't play. That's the way I see it. But what do you guys reckon? I'll start with Liam.
Yeah, not a huge fan, to be honest. I think what you just said, if you're not good enough to make the 8, you're not good enough to play finals. Now we're potentially having 10 teams, so more than half the competition gets the chance to play finals. because the wildcard round is basically a final, isn't it? So I don't think it's good. The only reason why I kind of like it is that, like, if you do those wildcard matches, like on the bye week before the normal finals that we have now, that would be good to fill the void. And like you said, AFL, they want the money. That's what they're about.
Yeah,
but nah, I'm not a fan of it.
But if you play it that weekend, then those teams miss out on the week's break where every other team gets it, you know. So,
well, if they're gonna get in from 10th spot into the finals, if that's how they want to do it.
But what about the team that finished 7th?
I guess it's unlucky for them, but
yeah, it is unlucky. It fucking is unlucky.
It is where it's gonna cause problems. Like, I don't know where I'd have to get the ladder up, but what, Gold Coast finished 7th from 15 wins, and Sydney was 10th. How many wins did they have this year? Like 10, 11?
Yeah, I think
like there's 5 games gap between 7 and 10, and the team with 5 games less could go through. Doesn't sit well with me. Not fair.
Yeah, it was a bit of a. No, you go, Mark.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, like Liam was saying, man, not a huge fan of it. I don't think these teams, finishing, 9th, 10th, 11th, whatever the case may be, should be deserving of playing finals. But maybe they should just work out something next year where the bottom teams play for other points, or give them an opportunity to play for something. Maybe round 16, round 17, if you feel that, say 6 or 7 clubs that are not going to make the finals, maybe have a bit of a round robin. I think I might have spoken, to you boys about this a couple of weeks ago, about maybe introducing something like that. But to have, a wild card, round, number 9 and 10, it just defeats the purpose of it. It's just a waste of time, to be honest, Rocco. So don't do it. Don't do it, guys. Try something different. Create a round robin for the teams that are not going to make the finals, and maybe give it an opportunity to maybe win points for next year. Whoever wins out of the round robin might be 6 teams. The last 5 games of the competition, you get a bonus of 4 points. You can use those 4 points next year, or you might, if you come second, you might get a bonus of 5% on your percentage. So if you're sitting at 100% in round 7, you might want to throw 4.
No. So we're going to have finals, a wild card round, and
no wild card.
And now a participation trophy for the bottom 4. So Essendon can tank for another year just to get the smallest head start possible at the start of next year. I'm not buying it,
They're tanking now, Scotty, mate. They're tanking now, buddy, mate. So why don't give bottom teams an incentive?
How are we gonna? They have their incentives, mate. They get compensated in the draft, and I think if you're getting smashed all week, if you're West Coast, you've only won 1 fucking game for the whole year. I think you're pretty happy to see the end of the year, to be honest, Mark.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind seeing Essendon versus Carlton round 19, regardless of us making the finals, to maybe have that additional 4 points for next year's opportunity.
But that's not fair, Mark, because what happens if you get that?
Fair about it?
Listen to me. What if you get, let's make it the percentage, not the 4 points, right? You get an extra 5%, 2%, whatever, right? Then next year, right, you're fighting for top 4, and then that you get top 4 spot because you got an extra 5% that the year before because you finished last.
Yeah, but Rocco, how many teams?
For 4th spot.
Come on, Rocco. What you're doing, you're benefiting the bottom teams to give them an opportunity.
Why do we have to benefit the bottom sides for?
Well, you're benefiting by giving them a draft pick, aren't you? So what's the difference? You might as well give them.
Everyone gets a draft pick, but you're saying give a bottom side percentage for the year after.
Why not? It's a bonus. Let's call it the bonus percentage, or the bonus points, and they can use those.
But that's not fair.
Why it's not fair? Why is it not fair? It might stop the tanking.
You're passing it on to the next year, and as I said, you could be fighting for top 4, right? And then because of your 5%, you knock out the 4 position because of your fucking failure the year before.
Yes.
And talk about Carlton.
Why not? If you're sitting 7th on the ladder and you finish on the top 4 the next year, beautiful, mate. You use those 4 points whatever time you want. You can use it.
That's unfair.
but very, very unlikely you're going to get a team that's
So
finishing 16,
the Bombers
17,
can
18.
tank for another 10 years so they can finally lock in a top 4 spot and at least have 2 chances of winning a final.
That's the theory, Scotty. They're not
And
tanking.
they can
Now they've got an
move
opportunity. They've got their own competition. They've got their own competition. Those teams are not going to make the final. So why don't they involve a different competition for those teams and let them play for something? Let them play for something. Let them play for points.
If that's
Let
something
them
to play for
something.
all year, Mark.
Yeah.
It's called the finals.
Mate.
Yeah, if you want them to play for something that year, not for something for the next year.
No,
That's outrageous, man. No way.
The teams, by round 16, Liam, by round 16, 7 or 8 of those teams weren't going to make the finals. So what incentive was – sorry?
So what do you want?
So let them play their own. The AFL would know, from number 8 to whatever is not going to make the finals. Why don't those guys play their own round robin? Let them compete, and you might get more crowds.
What? They're not going to get more crowds.
The prize cannot be points for the next season. That's so crazy.
Can't be for the
Why
next
not,
season.
mate? Think about it, Liam. Think about it, mate.
You know what they should do instead? They should, if you want to do some sort of prize for them, it should be for draft picks to stop teams like Essendon.
They get the draft picks anyway, Liam, mate. So you're telling me that if we didn't have a round,
they should reward the better performing teams.
So Rocco's trying to say that Richmond are going to make the top 4 next year. Is that right?
Well, fucking Adelaide made the top of the ladder. They finished bottom 4, you fucking banana.
Well, they were
Didn't
lucky.
they?
What's the statistics on that?
Can't say they were lucky, bro. All I'm saying is, right, you're going to try to give them extra percentage or whatever. And all right, not top 4, let's say even top 8, right? And you're going to give them those points the year after. Like, are you serious?
You give them the 4 points, but they can use those points whenever they want. They can use them.
When are you going to fucking use them? You're going to wait for 10 years time.
Well, maybe there should be a limit. After round 11, if you don't use your points, it's gone. You know what I mean? Give them an incentive to do something. Change it a little bit, mate. I'm getting sick and tired of teams playing for draft picks. Come on.
How about you improve your side and you play for finals? How about that?
Well, that's right. Maybe if we get the 4 points, it might scrape us.
That's it. Nah, man, come on, man. I don't know, man. What do you reckon, Scotty? I reckon I've heard you say some fucking beauties, mate, but that one there is a beauty anyway.
Yeah. I could feel a migraine coming on, to be honest with you. The wooden spoon cup. Let's just fucking do it. Maybe we should venture back to the topic at hand, with the wild card, because you're just taking us down a rabbit hole, Mark, and we're not going to let you drag us down with you, all right? But at least with wildcard round, I feel like it's a bit of the monkey paw situation. Everybody hates the pre-finals bye. And so the AFL is like, we'll remove the pre-finals bye by playing wildcard round in the meantime. Yes, it does restore a bit of that competitive advantage for finishing top 4, but then also kind of includes 5th and 6th. Even if you finish 7th to play 10th, it's an absolute fuck in the head. And when they were originally bringing this shit up, it was more for that 8th spot, not for 7th and 8th. But I guess you can't milk an extra game out of it in that regard. But I'll just leave it as is. And if we're going to be introducing more teams, we've already got 18. I think the 8 there is just kind of the right number. Because really, like you said, it's like a pre-finals final. We don't need it. Just leave it as it is. And it's purely just a marketing ploy, and it doesn't sit right with me. Plus, even if the 10th team somehow pulls a win out their ass, good chance they just get belted in the first elimination final anyway. And what was the whole fucking point?
Correct.
The other thing is, then, and there was another point today. The other thing is, what happens then if 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, well, they can't move spots anymore because it doesn't really matter, right? They rest half their side then. They're tanking anyway because they'll wait for the wild card anyway because they're not even guaranteed. Like, you finish 7, you're not even going to guarantee you're going to make finals, right? Even though you finish 6 games in front of the fucking 9th spot, right? And then all of a sudden you're just going to fucking tank anyway, aren't you? Right? And then what happens if you finish 7th, but you want to finish 8th because 9th spot is a shitter side, or, like you prefer to play there more, like homegrown advantage. What do? Do you tank there? Like there's always, I don't like any of it. I don't like it. Just play for the top 8. That's it, mate. If you don't make it, you're not good enough. If you're out of the finals by round 16, 17, so be it, bro. So be it. Play for next year. Get your team right. Put people away for operations and do all that shit and get ready for next year. Let's not complicate this, man. Like it's just fucking hell,
even
man.
like this year with the top 8 having 15 wins minimum was an anomaly, and for the top 9 to have so many wins and for the bottom 9 to have so few, I don't think many people would make the argument that Sydney was robbed really or missed their opportunity. It was really just Footscray. But if you looked at how it fell now, you would just have Hawthorn and fucking Footscray. Like they were fighting for that 8th spot regardless.
Yep.
I mean, Gold Coast losing their first chance at finals to Sydney, who only started coming together in the latter half of the season and barely were playing to their peak. I mean, I don't know. You would be pretty fucking pissed off if you're a player and like that finished 7th and earned that spot to have it taken away by some bum who finished 10th.
Yeah,
I agree, man. Because then just make, you know what? They just make it the top 10 then. Why are we doing a wildcard? Just make a top 10. That's it. Like,
but I don't like the idea of finals just being the top 50%. You've got to aim higher.
I agree. I reckon already 8's too much. But the problem is it's all about TV rights. You know that. The more finals they play, the more games, the more it's worth. You know what I mean? And that's what they'll keep on doing, So, I just reckon sometimes they come up with these ideas. I don't know who's doing it, but anyway. But you know what we'll do is
the wooden spoon round robin, though, we'll put that on the back burner because once they get tired of the wild card, though, they'll be looking for opportunities, Mark, and maybe hand in your resume, send them your details, give them a full brief, and honest to God, I think they might even consider it.
I wouldn't surprise me, Scotty, mate. I'll tell you right now,
would not surprise me either, Mark.
After round 5 or round 6, mate, if you haven't won a game, your season is over. So, that's what's happening. Lately, the last few years, by round 15 and 16, most teams are not going to be competitive to make finals. So we're just watching.
It's always been the case. It's always been the case.
It's going to get worse, Rocco. Once all these other
I know, but I don't understand, Mark. We're not a charity here at the AFL.
I'm not saying it's a charity, mate, but just make
because you want to give everyone a chance until the last. We're going to give you another chance. Oh no, you shit. We'll give you another chance. Why you're not? Why we'll give you another chance? No,
we're not giving them chances. We're not giving you chances. We're just giving them an opportunity to play for something. We're giving them an opportunity to play for something.
I've given you from the AFL. I'll be saying to you, I gave you the opportunity, right, to play finals from round 1, bro. That's it. We're not the AFL where we've got 20 trophies. You know what? Why don't we just do like the Premier League? Let's just do a trophy for the bottom 4.
Nah. Promotion and relegation.
I'm not suggesting that. It's going forward for next year to benefit those teams that haven't been. Well, why not, mate?
Fair, bro. It's not fair because as a team that finished top 8, top 4, whatever, we worked our fucking balls off to do this, and then you, because you're shit, right, and you happen to win one game right at the end.
Every club plays their balls out. Every club does, Rocco. It's not about teams not performing and not trying every week.
It is, but it's not about not trying. But because it is because you haven't got your club in order. You haven't got your club in order, right? So what happens is you don't have your club in order. You're pathetic, right? And then because you win one game at the end, right, you get a bonus for the year after. Why do you get extra privileges? Because you won a game at the end.
Well, yeah. Well, why not? Why not give that club an opportunity to try and move forward?
Why? Your
That's
opportunity.
the greatest
is to
possible
right,
advantage you can give a team.
Why?
The start of a season is supposed to wipe the slate clean, and everybody has that opportunity to fight for that flag. Somebody's already a game ahead at the start of the year and will be a game ahead for the rest of the year. Where's the fairness in that, Mark?
Well, all right. Fairness is another word, but give those bottom teams an opportunity to just get those points or percentage points to use them. It's a bonus. Just look at
But how do you know they're going to be bottom team the next year?
an opportunity for a Richmond or a West Coast, maybe.
Why?
Well, I don't know, mate. Make the competition a bit more kind of, exciting, mate. That's the only thing I can think of.
Exciting as it is, man. I'm excited every year that I want to make the 8. I don't want bonus. If you give me if you say to me, I'm going to give you 10 points at the start of the year as a bonus, right? I don't want them. I don't want them.
I'm not saying 10 points, mate. I'm just saying 4 points.
Even 4 points, I don't want them because you know what? You'll have an asterisk always on your competition then, on your game. Always. You will never be the team that won it on you. It wasn't fair for you, right? Anyway, while we're there, we're going to bring this bloke into the conversation. Andreas.
What's happening, boys?
I'll bring you into this conversation. First of all, welcome to Andreas.
Thank you.
I thought I'll bring in the Collingwood flavour since you won and you deserve to have your space this week. But
I appreciate that.
Always, mate. Before we get on to that, what do you reckon about giving the bottom 4 sides extra points, extra percentage a year after because they failed?
Oh, no. So I've had this theory for a long time that the bottom 4, especially now with like Tassie coming in too, like before they come in, that because of the way the season has unfolded, where the bottom 4 have been clearly the bottom 4, and it sort of leads into the wildcard discussion. But the bottom 4 should, regardless of where they are points wise or whatever, towards the end of the season or just throughout the season, whoever finishes in the bottom 4, they fight it out for the top 4 or 5 picks, right? So like that they play whoever they're playing in the fixture. But the key would be for a bottom team to finish 15th. And the reason being is the team who finishes 15th, they're obviously trying not to finish in the bottom 4. So they get the first 2 picks of the draft. Okay.
Bullshit.
No. Because listen, hang on. Listen. And then the team who finishes like 18th gets the 3rd pick. The team who finishes 17th gets the 4th. And then the reason being is because in those times, in those picks, they have to pick a player. And then after those picks, it goes to whoever is next in the draft. And that's when you're allowed to bid on father-sons. That's when you're allowed to bid on NGAs. Because what it does is then it means that whoever finishes in those bottom picks, their picks aren't going to be compromised by other ones, so they can get the advantages within picks. Don't give them points and shit like that. Make them not tank. Make them actually fight for something towards the back end of the back end of the season. Then, if you want to talk about wild cards, I'm of the belief the wild card is fucking awesome, and the reason being is that if you look at games like this year, right? You look at games like St Kilda and Melbourne, where St Kilda came back and they won with Wagner Miller like just doing his thing, right? The spectacle of that was amazing. Imagine having that towards the end of the season where teams are desperate to finish in 10th, and they'll probably get rolled the next week. But the fact is they get to have that extra week to try and do something. I just think if you look at the way the season was played this year, you had games that were just absolute dead rubbers and that were pretty much pointless, yeah. And the gap between the top 8 or the top 9 and the bottom part was just too much. At least make it a bit of a spectacle for that. I don't agree with giving them points. I don't agree with them, giving them privileges for the next season apart from the first picks, because what it does is too, it supports the teams that are actually in the league now before Tasmania come in, and we're all going to suffer. Every single one of us is going to suffer. The only side that probably won't suffer is Richmond, because they've done really well with their picks, obviously now with the position they are, and obviously the position they're going going to be in for the next couple of years. But for a team like, I wouldn't say Carlton, because you guys are more towards top 8 than what Essendon would be. But for a team like Essendon, if they were to finish 15th, imagine them getting the first round pick this season. So I think it does help the sides moving forward. I know it's a bit different than what people think, and you got to get your head around it, but at least then it gives them something, because it's not like the Premier League. It's not like soccer where there's relegation and shit like that, where they've actually got to win to stay in the big league. You know what I mean? So give them something to play for.
I disagree in all senses there. I disagree in a wild card. I don't think it's fair. That game against St Kilda and Melbourne, that was a great game. That would have been a great game regardless. Just because you put it into a final, now you want to give it extra thing. So what? The GWS and Hawthorn was a great game. The Fremantle game was a great game. You know what I mean?
No, I get that. I get that part.
That in the 9th and 10th should get an opportunity. Your opportunity is to make the top 8. And by giving someone a pick at 15, the number 1, instead of the 18th, I disagree. Why should you get number 1 pick now? Just because.
Okay, so then you got a team like 18th, but then you got a team that's 18th.
And you want to give them a pick. You're a better side, and you want to give them a higher pick.
But it's because why should you reward the team that finishes in the bottom of the ladder for their piss poor management, regardless of who finishes?
Because that's the way the draft works. We started the bottom and you get those picks. But what you're doing now, you're going to take that away from the bottom. They're already in dire straits.
Yeah, but then, Rocco, you've got a team like West Coast. You've got a team like West Coast who's getting the first couple of picks in the draft this season, who the core of their team aren't duds, and they're asking the AFL for fucking handouts and compensation.
That's another discussion when we could have that a bit later, because we've got Jezza coming on, but we can have that.
Also, too, later. I caught a little bit of your conversation in regards to like the deliberate stuff and the insufficient attempt before. Scotty brought it up with the SANFL doing it all season and stuff. And to be honest, I actually think it works if it's between the arcs and stuff. And a lot of the local leagues in Melbourne actually do that already. And the pure example is the AFLW does it, and it's actually pretty good in the sense of it does make the game flow quite like a lot better, and you don't have to go through the bullshit of like, is the umpire going to pay deliberate? Is he going to pay this? And it alleviates all that rubbish. So that's why I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing to bring in inside the 50s. No, if it's a contest and it goes out of bounds, no. But if it's a clear handball, no one touches it, or it's a kick and no one touches it, and it's between the two 50s, 9 times out of 10, they pay it now anyway, deliberate. So it actually doesn't really change the fabric of the game at the moment, the way the umpires are adjudicating it anyway.
You just leave it as it is.
No, but why would you leave it as it is? Because then every 2 minutes you're screaming about, but the rule becomes a lot more clearer, and then you're not arguing about the umpires every 2 minutes of the game, and then it just deflates you. Then you just like stuff this shit, blah blah blah. That's not deliberate. This is the rule. Bad luck. That's it.
I agree. It's already there, Mark. Think about it. They already do it. The only difference is that 20% of the time when they don't do it, you know what I mean? But every other time, they give it anyway. You know what I mean? Just if they weren't going to go down that track, all right, leave it. But they are. They're already going down that fucking track. They're just giving it.
It's just now you're not arguing. It's just now you're not arguing with the umpire. That's it.
And another thing, take it away from the umpire. Why are you making the umpire, make a decision on his interpretation? I don't get it. It's on an interpretation. That's all it is. He's interpreting. Did he deliberately do it? Didn't he deliberately do it? Did he have enough intent? Like, why are we doing that? We already do it with enough rules. Let's take it away from his. He shouldn't be doing that. It should just be his standard flat out rule. And that's the way they're going. To me, if it was me, I'd go back to, if you hit it out, mate, you can bloody throw it back in, mate. In the old days, they used to deliberately kick it towards the boundary line. Just
if you look at highlights, Rocco,
if you look at 60 meters from full back, they kick it deliberately, mate. That's a professional kick. That's not a kick, mate.
Remember in the early 2000s, remember in the early 2000s, players used to get the ball and they used to like just kick it like a dribble kick along the line, and the umpires used to say, "Oh, they found touch," like they do in rugby.
That's
like,
right.
The thing, and no one batted an eyelid. It was only at like certain parts of the game, if the ball was more directly out of bounds as opposed to gaining territory, they would pay the insufficient attempt. And it changed within, I reckon it was the mid 2000s it started to, but the last 2-3 years, it's like fucking every single time it goes out, they're paying it, which is fine because you're consistently being a shit cunt. That's fine, right? Yeah. But just make the fucking rule, blanket rule, where nobody's arguing with the umpire, and then it's just play on and everyone shuts up and the game flows. That's it.
I agree. You guys, anything to add to that?
No, spot on, boys.
I think we had a pretty robust discussion about it before. I think we've all said kind of our opinions.
Yeah.
I'll be back in 1 second, boys. Got to have your medication.
Hi.
Right, yeah.
Gino's at the door.
Here he goes. While we got him having his medication, we've got Scotty, we've got your mate in the back room. Can you just let him know that we'll get through this and then we'll get him on?
No, he's aware.
Oh, he probably can hear us. We'll get you on soon.
I think he's fired up. He's fired up. So, he's
I like it.
Yep.
And I've got a couple of questions for him too. But we've got Andreas here, of course, man.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get this over and fucking done with, right?
No, let's just bask in fucking
8, 7, 55, 11, 13, 79. All right. Thanks for coming, Andreas, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me, boys. Appreciate it.
Tell us all about it, mate. You are, as I said, I think 90% of the population would have gone for Adelaide. But like
as I said,
last week, you can travel well. So
as I said, 12, 13 days ago when we did the last one, or when I was on the last one, I said I feel very confident, more confident than what I was going into the round 23 game. I think the round 23 game was really good that we lost it and we got that monkey off the back of the whole 10 in a row, Adelaide Oval, all that crap, because I think if we had won that game, it could have been a different result this game. But the fact that we were able to adapt and we beat them in round 23 in almost every major stat and we just couldn't get the win. This time we were just much more of a mature, smart performance. Did I think that we're going to win the way that we did? By how many points? No, I don't think we're going to win by 24 points. I thought we'll probably win by about 10 or 11 realistically. But and the fact that no one gave us a chance was really works in our favor every single time. So, but yeah, it was a great game. I thought the third quarter performance, and it was funny because I said it in my preview that it's going to be an arm wrestle the first half, and then the third quarter we're going to pounce them and we're going to show a really mature, experienced, classy performance. Did just that. So I think that's fantastic. And Mick Sacker in the chat too just says here about Mason Cox, the role that Mason Cox plays. Now, anybody can say whatever they want about Mason Cox, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, regardless of what it is. But the structure that Collingwood plays in and the role that he has, it works for us so well, especially in the big games. He doesn't have to kick 3 goals or 2 goals or even a goal. The fact that he presents and he brings the ball to ground and he goes in second efforts. It allowed Jordan to go to kick a goal, side bottom to kick a couple. Pendle's just missed one, and then he's stuffed up and given away that 50-meter penalty. But then he's gone and back and he's taken a really important mark on the wing just a couple of minutes later. So his role in the team is really important for us in these type of games, and it throws other teams out of whack. The Adelaide defence didn't know what they were doing, but regardless of all that, our pressure was through the roof. So I was really happy to see that, because after the last 2 months of football that we've played, it was just good to see finally, because we've had signs in it. In all the games that we've lost, we've had little patches where it's like, oh, it's sort of there. Like against Brisbane, the second quarter, it was there, but we just couldn't do it. Gold Coast in the second half, it was there, but we ran out of legs. And, it was good that we put a really good, solid performance in, and it puts us in a really good position now where we get to play the 2 games at the G. We get to see Brisbane and Gold Coast absolutely slap each other sideways, and then hopefully we can then counteract on that and make our way to the grand final. Not looking too far ahead, but I really do think that we're going to be in a good position in a couple of weeks' time.
That's great and all, Andres, but how much credit do you really give the Pies at the end of the day, considering Adelaide were just dog awful? They were playing Carlton's way of playing, man.
We'll know that. We'll know that.
Line and bombing into the forward 50 every single time, and they were literally just kicking it directly to Darcy Moore and Quaynor.
So it's okay to say that now. Hang on a second. It's okay to say that now. They just won 9 games in a row, and no one was saying shit. Then Collingwood goes and beats them, and all of a sudden, it's an off day. It's an off day.
No. I'm not saying it was an off day. It's their own fucking fault for what they did. It was inexplicable what they brought to that game.
Yeah,
but that's my hope. Really, it's Adelaide lost, bro.
Andres, I'm going to say I'm not going to take anything away from Collingwood because they went over to Adelaide and they beat Adelaide after they finished on top of the ladder. We know what Adelaide have done the last. But if you're telling me that Adelaide did not shit the fucking bed, right, man, you had 19 intercept marks in the first half. It's a fucking record. Man, they did exactly what Carlton did with Collingwood when we played it and we kept kicking it to Moore. They kept doing it. They absolutely shit themselves, right? Now, again, I'm not taking away your win because you had to do what you had to do, right? But that is fucking hell, mate. Adelaide absolutely showed that they've been finishing bottom 4 the last 7 years. Mate, that was not Adelaide-like at all, mate. Like, if it wasn't for Tex Walker, they wouldn't have fucking got anyway. But again, mate, I'm not taking away your win, man. I'm not going to rain on you.
I understand exactly what you're saying, but we still had to force them to do the errors. We still had to force them in that position. And to be fair, we didn't force them into that style of play where they shut the bed until the second half. Because in the first half, it was an arm wrestle.
You did with your pressure.
In the second half.
In the first half, what are you talking about? In the first half, in the first quarter, they got 12 intercept marks, man.
Yeah, but we also stuffed up, and we also gave them some easy goals, and we weren't handling the pressure that well at the start too. It was an arm wrestle.
Man. Come on, bro, man.
Bro, Darcy Moore's fumbled it. Their captain Johnson's gone and kicked the goal. Hang on. In any other game, we then start to taper down a little bit, and in the last 7 weeks we didn't this time, and we kept the pressure on them. But in the second half, we put the pedal to the metal, and we showed how much of a really complete side we can be under pressure situations. We showed.
Adelaide absolutely shit themselves, bro. They played the worst game all year. Yes, it was because of your pressure, but seriously, when's the last time you saw Adelaide fucking kick it like the way they did? I'm telling you, they'll go back on this and go, what the fuck were we doing, And that was all because of the way you set up. And I was watching the game. The way you set up, you didn't give them anything. So all credit to Collingwood. Don't get me wrong. But fuck, they were, mate.
I think what's really going to back up your opinion, which I agree with 80% of it. I think what's really going to back it up is going to be how they respond against Hawthorn, especially at the start of the game. If they crumble against Hawthorn like they did when they played them a few weeks ago, where Hawthorn kicked the first 5 goals of the game and Adelaide don't respond straight away, then see you later. But if Adelaide can do the arm wrestle again with them and then start to play their style, they'll probably beat them over there. But who knows? Hawthorn are playing really well too at the moment.
Yeah, Hawthorn are playing well. You expect Adelaide to, mate, if they get smashed again, Jesus Christ, it could hurt them the way it hurt them when they lost that grand final. But you expect them to come back. Mate, you guys, Mark, Liam, you got anything for... Well, Mark, you'd have something to say about
Andreas, you were saying that that none of us gave you boys a chance. I don't think it was about giving you boys a chance, mate. I think it was more about we just didn't want Collingwood to fucking win, mate.
I was saying it more in a general sense. There were a lot of people in a general sense, not particularly you guys, but just in general, didn't give us any hope whatsoever.
Oh, look, I mean, I always had a funny feeling that Collingwood would probably come out and win, but I just didn't want them to win, and that's why I tipped against them. But, obviously, Adelaide, mate, they just got stage fright, mate. That's all it was. It was a final, and they didn't compete. And obviously, Collingwood, you got to think about it. They've got so many experienced players. They settled down. and they took advantage of that. And that was the beauty about the Collingwood Football Club, is that they had experienced players, and they got the points and they won the game. But
I'll put this question quickly straight to you, Mark. And this is like just it's a bit of tongue in cheek, but there is a bit of method behind the madness. If we had lost that game, would that experience then just turn to being old, or is it now that we won? Is it the fact that we're experienced in the whole situation?
Yeah, look, I mean, that could have possibly been the case that, maybe, too old, too slow Collingwood, but having the experience and going out beating Adelaide over there at their home ground, I think it was a great effort by Collingwood, being experienced. But how long is that experience going to go towards the next couple of games? It's going to be a big question to the Collingwood Football Club because the team is getting older, but they got the week's rest and they're playing at home at the MCG. So, I hope Collingwood in one way make the grand final, to be honest, and they lose. That'll make me feel better knowing that they've made the grand final, and they're not going to really give it to the Collingwood supporters. But all in all,
the other way, but if they win, fucking hell.
If they win, those emergency TGPs that you do and stuff like that, you'll be doing one, and I'll be hosting it. Trust me.
Fair enough. But it all comes down to experience. They're experienced side. They got the side bottoms, and they're the ones that won the game for you guys. You know what I mean? Pendlebury's and so forth.
And Dacos. I mean, Dacos had a fucking day out again. I'll tell you one thing. Losing Rankin, I didn't think, but I think that's really that. I know it's only one player, but fucking hell, when that ball was hitting the ground, man, they had nobody. So. That was a big loss for them, and that was a massive loss. They won't make the grand final. I'll tell you now. They blew their chance.
Do you think that? Do you think if Adelaide was to beat Hawthorn, would you give Adelaide any chance against Geelong?
No.
If that was say that again. If that was
So if Adelaide win this week and they beat Hawthorn and they make the prelim and they face Geelong, would you give Adelaide any chance against Geelong? Then on the flip side, I'll ask you, if Hawthorn beat Adelaide, would you give Hawthorn a chance against Geelong? Because I know a few Geelong supporters that are shitting themselves if Hawthorn win.
I'll give Hawthorn more of a chance than Adelaide. If Adelaide win because they're at home, they might beat Adelaide might win this week, only because it's at home. But I don't think I think Geelong are probably at the moment the form side. The way they played is really good. So
look, personally myself, if you had to do the seeding, I even me right now, I'd still put Geelong as the number one seed, and then I'd put us at number two.
It'd be Geelong close, and then look, at the end of the day, let's be serious. I mean, it'll probably be Geelong and a Collingwood grand final at the end of the day. That's what I think is going to happen.
The thing is, I think I want Gold Coast to beat Brisbane because I think we'll be better off playing against Gold Coast at the MCG, but. Yeah. With Brisbane, you just don't know. Like Brisbane could beat Gold Coast quite easily and then come to the G, because they've been so up and down every week. Brisbane, you don't know which one you're going to get, and they're a bit of the walking wounded at the moment. But Brisbane could then just scrape over against Gold Coast and come to the G, and they could fucking play like world beaters. You don't know. So I just think it's good. Exactly. So it's going to be really interesting. But at the end of the day, we're in a prelim. I was confident. I wasn't certain, but I was confident, and I'm really happy that we're there. I think we deserve to be there after the season that we've had, but who knows what's going to happen now. So we'll see.
No, well, you know what? Look, I know you're a bunch of dogs, but at the end of the day, you're in a preliminary now. That's all you're going to ask for, man. Like, you got a home final, you're in a preliminary, mate, and now, whatever happens in the preliminary happens in the you can't do anything about that. You're going to see, and you're actually got the good side of the draw now. As you said, Brisbane looked wounded. Gold Coast unexperienced but playing well, So
just on that too. I mean, you don't know. Like that Gold Coast win against Fremantle was like one of the games we're going to see all season. It was unbelievable, and they could ride that momentum because they've got nothing to lose, or the momentum's going to suck the life out of them. It's going to be a literal toss of the coin there on how they perform.
Next excited. The finals, they were some good games. This week's games are going to be good, and then the rest of the fucking season is going to be tough. Anything else, Liam? Did you have something for Andres before we let him go?
Nah, I think he's done a good job. I don't like saying it, but I do have to give a bit of credit to those Collingwood supporters, because Andreas said it in his preview. I watched it on his channel. I think Mick was on here last week. He said it. they were confident about their team playing well, and I got to say fair play, they were right. And I agree with you, like exactly how you explained it. Like that third quarter, you're just going to come out and go over them, and it was true. I mean, we can bag Adelaide out for a bad performance, and literally just kicking it to Collingwood players every time they went inside. Like we all would have gone out there and taken EP intercept marks too, but you still have to perform under pressure, and that's where the finals experience showed through. So credit to Collingwood, and I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I still think he played trash, Mason Cox, but I do agree with what you said about his structure because it actually did make a difference. I noticed particularly when he was in the ruck and Darcy Cameron would drop back and intercept, that made a big difference. So I'll give him points for helping you structurally, but he still sucks. And
look, he's not going to play like he did. He's not going to play like he did in 2018 or in 2020. Like that's just past history now. But also, if you look at like in the ruck as a tap ruckman, he does actually win a lot of his tap work, and he does tap it to the advantage. And there was like 3 or 4 times he's tapped it directly to Nick Dacos running through the middle. And to be honest with you, if he doesn't get a kick all game or he just competes and he does that, that's going to help us get clearances. And most of the time when we get a centre clearance, we usually score. We just got to get the centre clearances more. But it also relieves Darcy Cameron a lot more, and he's one of the premier ruckmans in the competition. So if it helps him play better, having him there, I don't think Mason Cox is going to be missing unless he has an absolute stinker in the prelim. Then I don't think he's going to come out. The only way that I can see Dan McStay before I go coming into the side is if Brody Myercheck doesn't get up. He didn't train 100% today, so he's got something wrong with his foot. So and his hand's still a bit banged up. So hopefully the week off does him well. But we've got a few waiting in the wings to come in as well. So which is really premiership players waiting to come into the side, which is
before you go, one more question, and it's come up on here. Should Bobby Hill play?
Yeah.
Mate, I went to training today. During work because I had an appointment in Richmond, and I thought, fuck it, I'll go down and I'll have a look anyway. And he
needed the excuse on Treyas. I see you there every single day.
Every week. I go once a week. He trained really well. And he looked like he was happy and he wanted to be there. So I feel as if having that VFL scratchy against Geelong where he kicked 4, and that that's not just like piss farting around. There's players there dying for spots, so they were going like almost at 100% to try and prove their worth. I think he's going to play in the prelim. I think he's more of a chance than Jeremy Howe to get up in the prelim. But if he does, I would definitely be playing Bobby Hill as a sub in the prelim and then bring him on when needed. But I reckon the start of the second half, and then as Ronnie said in the chat there, he can be that X factor, and then we can see what he can do. Who's going to be the sub if he starts on the field? I've got no idea. But yeah, we'll see how we go. But I think if he does everything right in the next 2 weeks or within this 2-week block, he should play.
Yeah, cool. I think so too. I think if he's up and about, you're going to play him. You're going to play him if he's up and about. You know what I mean? Even though even before that he wasn't playing that well, I still think, yeah, you need to play him if he's ready.
If he's anywhere between 85 to 100% within that bracket, you have to play him. Like you just got to do it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. All right, man. Thanks for coming on.
No worries. Just quickly, I one other thing. If there's anybody in the chat, I know this is a predominant Carlton channel, but if there is anybody in the chat, if there's anybody in the chat who would like to sponsor my channel, I've actually let go of one of my sponsors, and there's a real opportunity there for some advertisement and stuff. So if there's anybody there that's looking to get their brand or their little business out and stuff like that, just hit me up because I'd love to help you guys out and help me out too. So yeah.
100%, man. Get on there, DM him. Even us, if you can't get a hold of them, get a hold of me or us, and we'll pass it on. And also make sure you subscribe and like and share and push the little notification for Andreas, and help him out. And that's it, man. Well done.
All right, no worries. Thanks, boys, for having me. Enjoy the trade period. I will say though quickly, I'm really disappointed we didn't get Sauce. Like, I'm not going to be one of those supporters that's going to say here and say, "Oh, he's shit." I'm shattered. He's gone to St Kilda because he would have been great for us. But
you were willing to pay him $1 million.
No, but 650 a year is, I think, what he was worth, but not the 800 that St Kilda offered.
No, I heard, bro, that St Kilda are paying him above 900 grand, bro. That's what you would have had to pay for him. So
yeah, no, thank you. But I am shattered that he chose them, so doesn't matter.
Sorry,
let him go.
You can get him.
Let him go. Big Suki Lala. Go and fucking hug your dad over in St Kilda. Fuck off.
And Rocco Morrow in the chat, just let him know that I've got all my teeth are actually still legit. So, yeah, thanks, man.
No worries, man. You're a good-looking Collingwood supporter.
Wow.
All right. Take it easy, boys. Love yous.
Thanks, man.
See, Andres, always a pleasure.
He's still side bottom doppelganger.
He is side
He doesn't look like Mr. B.
Yeah, he doesn't look like
That's all I see when I look at him now.
You know what? There was another game, and we're going to get this bloke on because let's get him on.
Who is he?
And we've got Horatio. Horatio, is that your name?
Fantasio.
Not in real life, no. Just got here.
Elizabeth, how are you, mate? What's that stupid top you're wearing there, man? What's that all about?
Oh, it's just it's an old classic.
Yeah,
Look what the cat dragged in, eh?
Look what the cat dragged in. So we got him to discuss who I think have now become premiership favourites, but we'll get your thoughts on the game because I'm sure you watched it, and then I've got some other questions I want to ask you. But it was this game here. We talked a bit about it before. So it was 112 to 74. You absolutely smashed them from minute 1 to minute 120. I reckon. Reckon they were never in it. You know, they absolutely and you're looking good. So how do you see it? How do you feeling?
Well, before I go on, half the reason I guess I'm here is because I was talking to Scotty after the game the other night, and I happened to mention that I binge watched the Legends of the Jumper Punch interviews that you did. Like, huge fan, love your work, fantastic. Like, and a lot of those guys. I don't know if Scotty's mentioned it to you, but when I was a little tagger, I was a Carlton supporter. My dad used to play for him.
I didn't want to get into that, so I did want to get into that you
we'll talk about the game. No, look, I kept saying to the, because I have a chat a lot with the Hoops crew guys, and I kept saying, like, what's with the pessimism here? You know, everybody's talking about why we can't beat these guys. I said, the only worry that I've got going into this game is that prior to 2021, we had a bit of a propensity to not learn from our mistakes and keep going into these finals and trying to do the same thing we'd done against these sides earlier in the year that hadn't worked. So it's like, look, they gave us a good look at what they're going to do. We know how everybody knows how they like to play. They like to move it quickly through the guts and all that kind of thing. And really rebound quickly off turnovers and things like that. I'm like, we know what they're going to do. And particularly against us, because they know what we're going to do. They were kind of, when they thrashed us down at Geelong earlier in the year, they were kind of sagging off us and stuff like that. I said, we just didn't play smart. We butchered it that night. We did not play smart football. We absolutely butchered it. But look, we go out there and we're sharp, right? And we've learned from what we've done, from what we did, what we got wrong in that game. And I think in the last, couple of years, I've seen a lot more. And of course, we won in 2022. But like, since that we got smashed in that prelim in 2021, we've actually showed that we learn from our mistakes these days rather than trying to keep doing the same thing. So going in, I just thought, look, as long as we're sharp and the pressure's up, we're not going to have any problems with these guys. And all I was worried about really in that first quarter was just they went in 3 times and kicked 3 goals. And we had dominated the whole quarter and we were only 4 points up. But like, they're only one kick away from being in front here. They hit the front, that's going to change the complexity of the game. That could change the complexity of the game a little bit. or the complexion of the game a little bit, but that didn't happen. And then, it got to the point where look, the thing, as I was saying on Hoops Crew the other night, the thing that surprised me, I don't know if you guys saw it, but we had Brisbane taking shorts. The pressure was so hot. They were taking short steps. Like, I'm calling it out. They don't want it. They don't want it. Because they were very hesitant to go in for some of those hard footies. And a few of the Lions supporters that were sitting in front of me turned around and said, "You're right, they don't want it." And then they kind of, I thought, I'm looking back at the clock with 10 minutes to go, thinking, we're not far enough. Are we far enough in front here? These guys could quite easily slam on a few quick ones, And then I look back at on the ground.
Famously, as we saw, Horatio, they could kick 2 goals in 0 seconds.
Well, they did, didn't they?
Now, before you get on to the second half, Horatio, going into the game, was Reece Stanley going down? Did that concern you at all? Or do you think giving all that responsibility to the blitzarves really benefited you in the end? Because he's far more mobile and can apply a lot more pressure, as you were saying.
Well, we have a bit of a joke amongst Geelong supporters that Reece Stanley always has stinkers against mediocre ruckmen and plays like a superstar against the good ruckman. So we sort of worked that one.
Ruckmen were a bit more like that, but kind of shit ass against all of them, really.
No, look, I don't know what it is, but yeah, he tends to get up for the big challenges, and kind of not that he's terrible, but doesn't have his best games against the so-so ruckman. So, we were a little bit worried, but I think it was more just a case of like, can we, how are we gonna get the mix? How are we gonna get the mix right? Because if there's one area where we are a bit short, it's backup ruckman. We're sort of using Sam De Koning in. Well, we did that on Friday night, but a lot of Geelong supporters are not real keen on him being in the ruck, and I'm sort of one of those that I don't think that's where he's best suited. But no, it didn't worry me as much. It might have worried me a bit more as well. We had a full list to choose from. Like we had to like leave blokes out.
That leads me into my next question, Horatio. Are there selection worries going into the prelim, or kind of what you presented on Saturday or Friday night? Is that pretty much the best 22 that you can really put together?
Well, I'll put it this way: most of us were questioning the selection of Jai Clark ahead of Jed Buse. Because Jed Buse has done the job on Charlie Cameron previously.
Which, of course, we all are very familiar with the likes of Jed Buse and what's the other guy's name?
Yeah, they mean nothing to us. We don't know who these players
I'm just joking, Horatio. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Just say it, but like. Go on.
I was just going to ask, just about you're going to be playing either Hawthorn or Adelaide in the prelim now. Is Hawthorn, you're more worried about playing Hawthorn than Adelaide? I think you would be.
Honestly, I'm not worried about either of them, to be honest. Like,
fair enough.
What about the only look? If I've got to worry about Hawthorn, it's got nothing to do with our ability to beat the current Hawthorn side as such. But having been a Geelong supporter for nearly 50 years, they've delivered a lot of heartache to us over the years, and often at times when grand finals, other finals, trying to get into the finals. Like I could reel off a list of about 10 games where it's just they've completely just destroyed our season in one game. So yeah, like to illustrate, I just remember got about 2/3 of the way through 2008, and I looked at the ladder, and Hawthorn's come out of nowhere, and they're sitting second. I'm like, it couldn't happen, could it? Like, these pricks are not going to show up and sabotage our season, are they? They're not going to do that, are they? And walking to the bloody grand final that day, I just felt sick. I'm like, I just really had a bad feeling about it, and so it proved to be. But they've hurt us many times in the big games over the years. So I think that's sort of where a bit of that concern comes from. But as far as the actual game the actual talent goes, I think we're a little better than that. So
I think you're the favourites now, and as I said, do you want to you worry about playing the filth on the big day if you both get there, which you're probably favourite to get both of you to get there. You're worried in playing the filth. Do you want to play the filth, or do you rather them just lose the preliminary and don't even think about it?
Oh, look, having been to a Collingwood Geelong grand final previously, it's like any Geelong Collingwood final, really. It's a monster game. So, you love being a part of games like that. So, but to be honest, I wouldn't be too disappointed if we came up against them in a grand final. I would hope that given how things have played out over the last couple of months, that we have them covered. That's and I'm not suggesting that they're no good by any means. My question is, my only thing with Collingwood is that obviously they've got a lot of experience. They've got guys that know how to stand up in big moments and all that. And those players again showed it on Thursday night. The thing is that the teams that really bought the pressure, for close to 4 quarters of hard pressure, won the games on the weekend. And like Collingwood having the week off is going to be handy. I'm just thinking, can they maintain that level of pressure all the way through to to actually lifting the silverware? I'm not sure about that, but that remains to be seen. But
as I said with Collingwood, yep, they deserve their win over, but Adelaide they put no pressure. I don't think either. I reckon even the Suns will put a lot of pressure on them, but definitely Geelong will not be doing what Adelaide did to them. So you're in a good spot, and trust me, I hate you blokes. I think you're a bunch of scumbags also, right? But I'll be barracking for Geelong all the way to the end, mate. If that means, are you going to stop those filth?
Yeah, I would have guessed that.
And while we're there, before we go on, I just thanks Oz for the $5. Geelong 14 preliminary finals in 19 seasons. Collingwood 12. Yeah, so they've both been right up there.
That's my point. Horatio Fitzbastard. Is that correct? Or
that's that? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good to see you on the show. Just a quick question for you, my friend. Geelong. Sure. Now, you guys have always been confident, and pretty much exactly what Oz was saying there. 14 preliminaries in the last 19 seasons, and what have you guys got to show for it? Is this the season that you guys believe, with the players that you've got, that you need to win the flag, or do you think there's still possibility for the next 2 or 3 years to still be in and roundabouts? So you've had a lot of success in playing finals, but you haven't actually got the reward on the board. So how do you feel about if Geelong don't make the grand final, and if they do, it's a bit of a theory of them always losing them?
Well, I mean, this kind of comes back to what I was saying before. Like my beef, Chris Scott came in, we won the flag in his first year, but pretty much from that game until the 2021 prelim, I think we left at least 2 flags on the table there, maybe 3. And in that prelim, when Melbourne beat us by 83 points or something like that, I just remember saying, I'm glad they're flogging us. I'm glad they're giving us a hiding because they're playing the way that we should be playing. Why don't we play like this? We've got the players that can play the way they're playing right now, and we're not doing it, and they are, and we're getting pantsed by nearly 15 goals here. And I was just like, if we can't, if we can't wake up and smell the coffee after getting a belting like this, and after, sort of being there or thereabouts, are we just going to sit there and say, well, we're in the top 4 every year, No, you want to win flags, right? And if you can't, if that doesn't hurt, if losing in those, continually losing in those sort of circumstances where it's like, well, something's not working here and we've got to do something a bit different, because when we get to that point where we're up against the absolute best, we're just not finishing the job. We're never gonna. And then, to our credit, and to the coach, more to the people, the players, the coaches, the people around the club, we had a good look at it and we said, okay, look, no, something's not working here. We're going to have to make some changes. They made those changes. They came out the next year and won the flag. We won the flag on our ear. Now, and
that's Horatio, but that's kind of the reputation of Geelong. You refresh, you don't rebuild, and it seems you do kind of restructure and revolutionize your own game or adapt just every few years as much as you need to. Even since your last flag, you were kind of old, a bit more slower, a bit more contested. All it took was Max Holmes and Bailey Smith, and now you're a fast outside run and gun team. And as you said, you've got all the pieces. You're just able to adapt when necessary.
But the problem for me is that that's good, and that's all. It's not what we're doing during the season. That's fantastic, but you still want to win flags, right?
Yeah. But it goes to show just how hard they are to win, because Geelong, they're the benchmark of the competition. They've been in more prelims than anyone, and you've still only picked off about 4 in that time.
Well, Chris Scott's only got 2. So, my point is, and I'm not going to bore you all with going through sort of all of these seasons in between, but just it's not. Yes, they're hard to win, and some years you're going to come up short, no question about it. But when, I'll give you one. I'll give you one example. In 2016, that was a weird season. The year the Footscray won. Just like Hawthorn was probably the worst top 4 side that's ever made the top 4, and that's even coming off 3 premierships in a row. They kind of just scraped in, beating mugs, really. I'm like, we've got these blokes, but then the way the other finals went sort of didn't suit us, and we ended up having to play the team that I rated the best team in the prelim instead of getting somebody else, and they pumped us down. Just similar to sort of what happened, and this is sort of what worried me about if I was worried about anything with Friday night. They absolutely pumped us down at Geelong this year. And all night, we just kicked it to Alir and Dane Rampy, and they just marked it and took off. And I'm like, look, I'm walking into that game with my missus, and I said, look, as long as we don't do the same thing we did last time, tonight, we'll beat them. And what did we do? We did exactly the same fucking thing. And we got beat by 7 goals. I'm like, this is what I mean. We think we're going to just rock up and play the same way, and suddenly we're not going to get the same result. Turn it up. So that's the difference, I think, where we are right now compared to what was happening. We're there or thereabouts, but we've fallen down at the last hurdle here, and that's why. So, coming in this year, I'm just like, look, as long as we show that we've learned something from our part, we've had weaknesses exposed. I think I've seen sides that we're addressing, we've tried to address those. We come out and we put it into practice in the game on Friday night. I feel pretty good about that. So, as far as this year goes, look, I think it's pretty even. But I think if we play like we played on Friday night for the next couple of games, I think we'll win. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to do that.
There's not many games you're going to lose playing like you did on Friday night.
Yeah.
Nah,
Liam, do you have any memories about coming up against Geelong in finals?
Couple good ones. Yeah. Couple good ones.
Yeah,
but yeah, we got the COVID one over them. Couple, I think we got that first finals win that I remember seeing in 2017. That was a fun one. That was when Kochi kicked that wicked goal when he spun out the contest. That was awesome. I loved it. I do have one question though while I'm here for Horatio. Who do you prefer in the prelim? Do you want to take on Adelaide or Hawthorn, or does it not matter?
Like I said to Rocco, I'm not fussed really, but I think look, I think Adelaide's in a spot of bother purely for the fact that, the other thing you guys didn't mention about is they've been crook. Like they've actually the flu's went through the club last week, so they were all they're a bit off their tucker anyway. So
but we didn't hear about that coming up to the game. It's only come out long afterwards.
Yeah, I only saw it yesterday.
I agree, but anyway,
whether that's an excuse or not,
it was an excuse. They play like shit. That flu did not contribute to the way they were playing. They were just booting it long to the fucking forward. As I said, 19 intercept marks in the first half. If they play that game again, there's no way they're going to play it the same way, So, I thought they shit themselves in the finals. That's all it was.
I think the problem for Adelaide is that the two guys that really play a huge part in keeping them together are out. Like not having Rankin, not having Rochelle, they are two monstrous outs for them because they're the guys they're the creative guys in that forward line that could push up into the midfield and sort of make something happen. And that was one of the things that they clearly hurt them as well, because that's the thing. Even if you're bombing it down there and you're getting a contest, they had no one on the deck really to do anything. So
it really did hurt them. It really did hurt them. But you know what? I want to get into something else before we let you go because we've got another guest waiting. But I definitely want to get into something else there because I really can't take you seriously anymore because apparently you used to follow Carlton. Is that true? And what age did you change over to Geelong?
Well, basically, my dad played for Carlton back in the 60s.
I heard that. And are you going to name this player?
Well, he never played. So he only played up to the Resis. So, but his name was Alan Miller.
Still counts.
Yeah.
I've got a great
person who comes on our channel, and Bucky played for the under-19s, and he got to put on the jumper. But so when did you change over to Geelong, you scumbag?
Well, I was saying this to Scotty the other night. Like when Carlton won in '79, I was a Carlton supporter, so I got to see a flag as a Carlton supporter, and all the ones that Geelong, all the ones I've seen since then as a Geelong supporter. But no, part of the thing for me was that, when you were a kid in those days, pretty much your favourite player was Jezza. And, I was just what wasn't there to like about Jezza, amazing player. Yeah. One of the best to ever do it. And, and they had other blokes that I particularly liked, like Trevor Keogh, who was one of the guys you spoke to, I think, in the Legends series, and David Mackay is another one who was a favourite of mine. Jeff Southby, just great players, And my mum actually was from Jacana, so she went to school with Rod Austin and Bruce Dahl.
Nice.
So there was a bit of a link there, but then Jezza left. And I didn't know what to do. I was a bit confused after that. And my mum and dad split up, and I sort of had a bit of an issue. I had a bit of it. Yeah, was having a few issues there and stuff like that. And I think, well, for me, because I guess my dad wasn't there and he wasn't taking me to games that much. Although the first game I saw I started following Geelong in 1980. The first game I went to was Geelong support as a first Geelong game I ever went to was earlier that year as a Carlton supporter. So, yeah, pretty much the corresponding game from the one I'd been to earlier in the year was down at Geelong. And you can look this up on YouTube, but I was listening to it in the car listening to it at my dad's place. And there was a passage of play there where Carlton was in front by a couple of points. And who was it? I think it was Terry Bright had this flying snap for goal. And Glenn Middlemas has gone the shepherd and shepherded Jeff Southby out of it as the ball's gone bouncing through for a goal. And I was like, the umpires must really like Geelong. I think I'm going to follow them. And my dad's like, you little bastard, what the fuck are you doing? And I said, no, and then I was 7.
Too old.
Yeah, too old to change.
And to be fair, Rocco, even after swapping sides, if he stayed with Carlton, he still would have seen the same amount of flags. He just would have seen them a lot earlier on.
That's true. You would have seen 81, 82, 87, 95.
For now. I mean, end of this year that might change.
Not recent times. Not recent times, yeah.
Also, because it is forever rivals, Horatio, and you brought up something very controversial the other night, which kind of put my knickers in a knot. The show's forever rivals. We all know the big four: Mark, Liam, Rocco. We got the Pies, we got Richmond, we got the Bombers, and of course we have Carlton. Now Horatio here, coming from that redneck bum team down Geelong, he believes not only should Geelong, but also Hawthorn should replace not just Essendon, but also Carlton in the Big Four and have them become the forever rivals. Could you imagine this show with Horatio or Lucas and Hawker instead of Rocco and Mark?
Yeah, mate. Come on.
You look like your head was about to pop off your shoulders, Mark. Could you imagine that? Hawthorn and Geelong replacing Carlton. Nah, shut the fuck up, Liam. You could imagine.
I can still talk because I'll still be here.
Horatio, I will give you a chance to plead your case. I just want to say that is probably I dropped to my knees when I read that the other night. I couldn't believe it.
Be careful, mate.
I'd had a few beers, mate, and I was just looking for the cheap stir. That's all. Like I was not serious about that.
That's very, very nice of you. Very diplomatic to back out now, but you're the one that said it, mate. So let's hear your case.
You would never be the top 4 at the end of the day. Yeah, all right. So you win the premierships, 14 preliminary finals, Carlton 0, but still. Come on, bro, man. 100 years to build this reputation, man. You're not taking it away because you want to come now and be a top 4.
I'll put it this way. I would never, even if I thought, there is no way. There was no way I would replace any of the 4 teams with Hawthorn under any circumstances. I hate that. I would never do it. They can go fuck themselves. Like
you reckon you guys?
The thing is that it's about the Big 4 Melbourne clubs, and we're not a Melbourne club.
No, so not even a Victorian club.
But yeah, like
own planet.
But just the thing I always like. The thing that always used to annoy me about, and this is why I think. This is what part of what the Big 4 is all about. Is when I was growing up, even when I was a little tacker, and I followed Carlton, and then sort of going up through school and high school and all that as a Geelong supporter. The thing that used to kick me was that it's like these even Collingwood, we hang shit on them, and they were the collie wobbles and all that, and laugh at them making grand finals and losing. but at least they were there. We were nowhere, you know.
Yeah,
and
right.
one of you should always be, at least one of you should always be lurking around.
Yeah,
And I'm like, why can't we be like these guys? You know, and the thing was, it's all, we got our fair share of supporters, you know, and whenever that we would play against any of you guys, and it's still the same now, you know, get big crowds, you know, all this. It's like, but why have they all got 13, 14, 15, 16 flags and we've got 6? And then I remember watching an interview with Doug Wade on the earliest version of like Open Mic, and this was on Optus Vision like 20 years ago. But even longer than that, actually probably 30 years ago. And he was like, oh, you know, we were just happy to have a kick on the weekend. Well, you know, if we won or lost, didn't worry so much. And I'm like, the Big Four, they bled for this stuff. Yeah, it's like, we're here to win flags, and we don't care what we've got to do to win the Bastard Bigs. We don't care. We're going to win. We want to win flags, and anything short of that is a failure. So this is why when I tuned into you guys talking Carlton stuff, it's like I feel that frustration because I know what you know. I was there to see Carlton at their best, and what that means, and sort of what the club represents, and how far away the club is from that net right now. Well, it's like exactly, this isn't the ruthless. You know, we're going to do whatever we've got to do, and we don't care what that is. We're going to do it because we're here to win. We're not here to kick ass. So that's what you got. That's
where I think hopefully that this year with Graham Wright, you know, we made some ruthless calls at the moment, and we could make a few more. And I think I was saying this last night. The first step for Carlton is to change that culture into. I don't think premierships is our main objective at the moment. It's other things, and that's what I think is costing us. Where teams like Geelong and Collingwood, their main objectives is to win premierships, you know. And I think we need to turn that, and we will. We will. Hopefully, this is the move, and it will take a few years. But I think the first step. Forget about players. Forget about coaches. It's getting that culture right, and hopefully we're
for what we're hearing and seeing, Rocco. Like even because you know I've got good mail. Sam Walsh in front of the playing group just this week said, if you don't want to be here, fuck off. It's time to grow up.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And
there's too many F segments tonight, boys. Too many F words at the moment. So just we need to
sorry, we're not Nick Dacos or Craig McRae. We can't get
young kids watching.
Only Collingwood can get away with saying F words.
Fuck off! I'll say how many F words I want, mate. No one's paying me here.
I don't want to hog up too much more of your show.
Someone else, but it's
I just want to say like one thing. I remember like people bagging Collingwood supporters, you know, because they do make themselves easy targets and stuff. And I used to say to people, it's like, you know, I said I don't have I don't have a particular hatred of Collingwood. I said, you know what I don't like? I don't like Richmond. I said, but because they've been shit for so long, people forget what a pack of arseholes their fans are. I said, you know, and I'm like,
round one every year. And I'm saying, these folks are scum suckers,
right? And I'm like, look, you know, I said, and I want Richmond to actually come good, just to remind people of what a bunch of pricks their supporters are, right? But it's like
the only time is when they're good. When they're not good, they all fuck off and disappear. They crawl back under their rock.
Oh, right. Do you not you were beating Geelong?
I love it, and that's why it's forever rivals, because that rivalry and that hatred and everything will never go away between the four big clubs, you know. So,
but when you four guys,
you tell him, Rocco,
when the big four are strong, it's good for footy.
Oh, 100%, man. Imagine you have all four in the finals, you know, like it would be awesome, you know.
It would be monstrous.
Well, let's 3 of them, Rocco.
We've got to pull our weight, man. But, hey, Horatio. Thanks for joining us, mate. Good luck to the Cats, man, and we'll hopefully they if Collingwood lose next week, then I don't give a fuck what happens. But if they happen to win next week, then I want you to make sure you do the job for us. Can you promise that?
I will. Yeah, I would like to give you a gilt-edged guarantee on that.
Horatio, before we go, one-word answer. Who's winning the Gippy League Grand Final?
Langatha.
Yeah, all right.
No, I've got a proper question for him.
Dude, seriously, did you watch the game on the weekend? Fucking Dyson Heppel had like bloody 60 touches. Like,
yeah,
he was
It's
they do it every year.
It's corrupt. Warrigal was robbed anyway. They blew the siren early anyway. But
Don't
thank you,
worry.
Horatio.
You're gonna win the next 4 with Gary Ayres there, man. So don't stress out, man. So you'll be right, man. All right, man. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch
Thanks
you
for
next
having me
time.
on. No worries. Thank you.
Oh,
What a star.
Funny.
Now, are you going to hang around, Scotty, or?
I should probably shoot off, but I'm pretty big. You know, I've been the MVP of my new workplace. It's draining, to be honest.
For a fucking week, and he's already complaining. But nah, thanks for joining us, bro. You're a star.
Love your work as always, fellas. And let's see, I might have a few mail drops over the next 24 hours. So stay tuned to socials, and love you all.
See you, mate.
TJP, forever. Up the
Time to go. And while we get rid of that one, we'll get one real star in here. Oh, look at them both together at the bottom. There we go. Get the coach of West Coast here. How we going, mate?
Good, lads. How are you all over there? Oh, geez, very fiery opening tonight. I'm glad I'm on late. You've all seemed to calm down a bit by now.
Oh,
we'll be right. We're going to get started again. We're going to get started. I reckon I've got a couple of topics to finish off. But while we got you there, we had 2 more games. Did you watch all the games, Jezza?
No, I didn't watch all. I only watched 2 of them, actually, yeah.
Did you have
I got to watch the last quarter of Fremantle, so that was pretty good. And I watched pretty much all of the Geelong Brisbane one.
Yeah.
And 3/4 of the Adelaide Pies one.
All right, so you didn't end up watching this one, which was
I didn't watch. No, I was actually here watching.
That was another final, 13-10-88 to 16-11, 107. They were 42 points down, and then GWS decided to come back, but it was always going to be too far for them, I believe. Hawthorn just needed to kick 1 or 2 goals, and they looked good. And again, GWS have failed again, you know. So this starts to just build on them, you know. Another finals loss, but anyway, you guys saw it, Mark? You watched this game?
Yeah, I did watch a little bit of the game, Rocco, and you're spot on there, mate, with GWS. You know, they've had their chances now the last few years, and they've got to take their opportunities. And they got beaten by Hawthorn at home.
That's right.
At home, which is devastating. So. And to be up by 70 points and to get the boys to come back and win, it was. I was quite surprised that the GWS boys didn't get over the line, but they're in some serious trouble. They need to make some changes too, I think, in the off season because they've had some chances in the last 2 or 3 years to get closer to at least a prelim or even making the grand final. So opportunities, don't take them. It's going to cost you down the track. So very disappointing.
4 finals. It's 4 finals in a row.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's it's good to see them make finals, but they're a new team that's coming to the competition. The last, what is it? How long have they been around now for GWS? 10 years, 12 years, maybe more.
Yeah, long time.
About 13.
Yeah, so they've had massive draft picks and conversation picks from the AFL. So if they don't, prove the next couple of years, I think there's going to be some massive changes there as well.
Yeah, 100%. But Hawthorn look good again, so they look good. They just seem to just get better and better. You know, they just look good, man. When they like Ginnivan is a star, man. He gets up there, he's kicking goals, man. They're just a good side, so they're gonna actually. I think they'll beat Adelaide, but they're gonna push them definitely, mate. So, but there was that game, and then we'll get on to the next one quickly, which was another good game that we saw, and that was this one here. And you said you saw the last quarter, and that was probably the best quarter, but 12-7-79 to 11-14-80. I think Gold Coast had them most of the time, and then go for it. Let us know.
Gold Coast had it. I mean, I was looking at that score all the time as I was coming home to watch the last of it, and I couldn't believe the scoreline. I was like, geez, what's going on here? You know, I didn't expect him to come out of the blocks so well, but I had a bit of a think about it in the week, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, Gold Coast's coach is a pretty experienced person when it comes to finals, and I'm sure he would have been able to get into them and say, look, you're going over there. There's no pressure on you guys. It's your first finals. You know, go in there. It's an experience for you. All the pressure's on Fremantle. And Fremantle have done what they've done a few times this year. They just haven't shown up in the big games. I mean, it was great that they come back, but, you know, it made it look like it was going to be a really exciting finish and stuff like that. And they got in front and stuff like that late and everything. But, geez, I didn't think they were going to be that far down. I thought it was going to be a lot better game than that. So, just goes to show you, it's also not the Giants. If you don't turn up, you get belted. And then when you try and come back, you use so much energy trying to get back into the game, you just don't have enough left to just finish it off. So I reckon that's what's happened to them.
And I think you agree with Rocco here. Suck shit, Dockers, You would have been pretty stoked about that last quarter, wouldn't you, Jessa, there? You would have been pretty happy about that?
Oh, yeah. Look, not unhappy about that. You know, I mean, they're one of my least favourite teams, so I don't care about them. And I don't mind Gold Coast, and it's good to see someone else get an opportunity and go along and have another crack at it for another final. So, yeah. I mean, but they did what they needed to do. I mean, they got that ball up the end of the ground. Mac Andrews moved up at the four-line to great mark, went back, kicked the goal, got it back to even, and then to see Swallow, who pretty much could have been his last game, could have been his last kick ever, put it through. It did get touched. It was touched. It was actually probably one of the best reviews because it was definitely touched. But it was enough to get them over the line. Probably would have been better for Fremantle if it was a goal because it would have gone back halfway down the grind. To get it from one end of the ground to the other in 9 seconds was never going to happen for them. So, you know, it's almost like it would have been better if it was a goal for them.
You saw it, Liam. That move by, and he's done it a couple of times by Mac there. What's his name? Mac Andrews goes to the forward line, take the mark. He's done it before, you know. So, I mean, he's got a 10-year. Would he get it like a 10-year contract that, you know, 10 million, $9 million, whatever. Mate, that was a good move, and that's the kind of player you want. Someone who's playing in defence, but you know you can move him forward and he can step up, and that's exactly what he did. And you know what? When Fremantle hit the front, I thought that was it. They had 2 minutes to go. I thought there's no way Gold Coast will come back, but it showed something for them to come back in the last 2 minutes and do what they do. And their midfielder there, what's his name? Rao. Fucking hell, he's turned into
Matty Rao, yeah.
He was awesome, man. He was so good. Seriously, like the way that he burst out of those stoppages and was so efficient with his hands in tight spaces, seriously impressive. But like to show you how close that game was, Caleb Sarong got the best on from the losing team, and he was massive as well. But yeah, like you said, with Mac Andrew going forward at the end with that coaching change, I think that's just experience in coaches. Bimmer knew what was required, and I think the Fremantle coaching box didn't react to it quick enough because how you can have a bloke who's, I don't know how tall Mac Andrew is, but he's a pretty tall boy. How you can have him with no one in him and get an open chest mark in the goal square, in the forward 50, sorry. Yeah, that's not really good from Fremantle, and it proved costly. He went back, he kicked the goal, tied the game, and then, yeah, obviously, great moment for footy. Dave Swallow got to go through and kick the ceiling point. But, yeah, that was one thing I noticed.
Yeah, no, you're right, Galicchio. Matt Rao's family, they are Carlton supporters, and I actually have met Matt Rao's mother. She's a secretary for Sexton, who played for Carlton. He's a chiropractor, and I went to interview him there, and she was there at the reception. She was talking about her son and how he's really happy up there. This was a few years ago, and she said that they're big Carlton supporters. And I was just hoping that one day he'd move over to Carlton, but it looks like he's found his spot there and he's pretty happy over there. So,
would you give up Curnow for Matty Rowell as a trade?
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That'd be a pretty good trade for Carlton.
100%. As I said,
I'm not sure if it'll be the same as Judd and Kennedy. I think you guys would probably win that one with the midfielder. I don't know if Curnow is his career will last as long as Rowell's.
Look, and we were talking about this yesterday, and we'll get into that. I wanted to talk about some trades, and there's rumours, and there's all sorts of stuff going on, and not much Richmond, Liam, but definitely West Coast. Carlton and Essendon are really into the trade at the moment, which we should be. But yeah, I was saying last night, if we got to get Tatsloto deal for Curnow. I don't care what anyone says. If we don't get the Tatsloto deal, he's not going. I'd rather him play in the reserves, and I'll pay him fucking 1.1 for the rest of the time. But we've got to set a standard. But would I move? It would have to be a Rowell and also maybe a pick. I don't know where, maybe a second round. It depends, because Rowell's a really good player. And the point is with Rowell is it's what we need. I want to trade for what we need. We need midfield pace. We need that. Matty Rowell would be like a perfect person. Butters would be someone else. If we could trade for those players, I think that's exactly what we need. And it's also changes our forward line a bit. We start to move into that direction and change the forward line a bit, have a different way we play. Yeah, I would definitely change. I would definitely do a Rowell Curnow kind of move. Yeah, there's also another forward there, Walters. I think his name is from Gold Coast. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that plus a first rounder or something. 100%, man. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to do those moves, man.
Yeah, you guys are having a look at Campbell Chesser from the Eagles. He's only played about 36 games since he debuted. He's just had a lot of injuries at the start of his career, but came back and played some really good footy through the waffle for about 6 or 7 weeks, and then played the last 4 games in the seniors and looked pretty good. But he's pretty much said to the club, look, I'd be interested in heading back home, and he's picked Carlton as his preferred destination. So I haven't seen enough of him to form an opinion, but there is a lot of people that reckon he's not a bad player. He would probably be, if he could get his body right, he'd probably be a good pickup. So there might be something there for you guys.
I think so. And I think, I mean, I don't think this will happen, but there's also maybe a trade for our Elijah Hollands or something, if you will be interested in something like that, maybe. He's definitely on the move too. So, but yeah, I haven't heard much about him. I know he was an early pick. If we get him for fuck all, I don't think it's a bad idea to get him. But again, I'm like you. I don't really know much about him. He's just come out of the blue for me. So, so he'd be one definitely we're looking at. I'll give one to Mark.
Yeah, Bello. What's going on?
So Merrett is absolutely he'll definitely leave, right? He'll definitely leave.
What makes you say that? What do you mean he's going to leave?
Well, he's been saying it for a few years that he's not happy. He's just met up with the Hawthorn coach.
Yeah.
And he's been saying that he definitely wants out. So when you ask me what makes you say that, yeah, all those things put together makes me say that he wants out. So at the end of the day,
players of that caliber are always going to be looking, to be successful, and they're going to, they've got the best interest to go out there, look for, teams that are powerful. So, but he's not going to go nowhere, mate. Essendon cannot afford to let this guy go. It's going to ruin the club. They cannot do it. And like you were saying, Rocco, he's contracted, and whatever we want for him, then things might change. But at this stage, he's not going to go nowhere, mate. He's going to look around. I think Collingwood are looking at him as well, and possibly the Bulldogs. But, the players are going to go out there looking for teams. But he's not going to go nowhere, mate. He'll stay at Essendon Football Club.
What makes you say he's not going to go nowhere?
He won't go, mate, because
that he's been looking. All word is he's not happy. He's actually asked us for a trade a couple of years ago, right? And he's continued on 2 years down the track, right? And now he's actually gone out and met with a coach. Like, this isn't management meeting. This is they've gone to meet with a coach, right?
Yeah.
What makes you say he's not going nowhere?
Well, I don't think the club will let him go. They won't let him go.
I understand, and that's your
contract, like you're saying.
He's contract, I know. Right. But you'll be silly not to look at it.
Well, they're going to look at it.
You actually said to me, why would you keep a player if he doesn't want to be there? And now that it's happening to you, you're saying, oh, the club won't let him go. He doesn't want to be there, bro. Yeah, okay. Well, then if he doesn't want to be there and the club are not happy for what they get for him, he'll sit in the forward pocket or he'll sit, playing reserves for 1.1 million. I understand, but you said he's not going to go nowhere, and I think
you can understand the reason why. Obviously he has been, he hasn't won a final. He's been playing. He's going on his 12th year now, so you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt to have a look out there, and that's the funny thing at the moment. All these players are looking to go to clubs that are successful, that are winning, and it's affecting the teams that are weaker, and that's the sad thing about the football at the moment, that teams and players can just go wherever they want, and it's going to be a massive difference between the top teams and the bottom teams. So kudos to him, mate, but at the end of the day, he's still contracted. Like you were saying, Rocco, he's still contracted, and we're going to get what we want to get for him. If not, he stays.
What's he? And I think you're stupid to say that. Like, you don't want him. If he wants to go, I think, to tell you the truth, to get rid of Merrett and get some good quality players in your side, it's a smart thing to do, because you're not going nowhere.
He's not saying that he wants to go. You're not saying that he wants to go. He's looking at his options. That's the key.
Talking about, if you go and meet with a coach, what does that mean? You're the captain of the team.
He's still looking. Yeah, he's the captain of the team, but he's 30. He's going on 30 years old, and he probably just wants to look and see where he wants to go. He's not 25 or 26.
But if you're happy with where you
I can understand it, mate. It's in his best interest.
If you're happy with where you are, you're not going to be looking, Mark.
Well,
you're not going to look.
Of course,
if you're happy with your job and you're getting paid well and you're happy with everything, you're not going to go look for another job.
Yeah, you can understand his reasons for maybe looking.
I don't care about to understand. What I'm going to ask you is, right, like, of course, you've got to look at trying to better your side, and to get trades and players will better your side. What would you want for Merrett?
That's the question.
Well, depending on where at Hawthorn.
Regardless of who it is.
If he goes to Hawthorn, what do you want back from Hawthorn?
Well, obviously,
who would you ask for from their team?
Probably Newcomb. I'd look for something like that. Or one of their backmen. One of their backmen. What's his name again? I can't remember. But anyway, one of their good players. That's it. That's all that matters, doesn't it? It's one of the good players that you want.
Straight swap is enough?
No, wouldn't be enough. No. Not even drafts anymore, mate, these days. Just go look for a player or two that's playing at the moment, and that's it. Take them and move on from there. But no draft, first round draft picks, second round draft picks. Just pick a couple of their gun players, and if that's what Essendon are happy with and Hawthorn are happy with, then maybe we might consider. But it's not going to happen.
Allen did exactly the same, man. He went to speak to a coach, and you going, oh, no, that means nothing. It means a lot, man. He's speaking to a coach, man. And look at him, man. He's now,
He's now looking at going to Brisbane, though. He's not looking at going to Hawthorn.
That's true.
I think Hawthorn has just been very aggressive in their recruiting style. They're just thinking anyone that's on the cusp of a team that's not happy that we think would work in our team, we're going to have a chat with them, just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case, because you get to look at 5 or 6. If you grab one of them, it might be worth doing it. So. And that seems to be the way it's going at the moment.
Liam, do you boys believe that Merrett will leave, or do you think that we should keep him?
I think he's going to leave.
You think he's going to leave? Okay.
I think he's going to leave. I think like what Rocco's saying with Kerner. I think if you can't get a deal that's good enough for him, you'll hold on to him. But I think the bigger problem is, and it's kind of what we've said about Carlton, is like if your captain wants to leave the club, I'm kind of worried about what that says about what's happening inside your four walls.
That's what I'm scared about, Liam. That's exactly my point. If he's going to leave,
if he's a young player, I'd love to have Merrett. He's one of my favorite players. I think if you get a good offer for him, you're definitely going to take it.
I reckon. The only thing is he's a bit old. What is he, like 30?
Yeah, that's what I was
saying.
Like
he's still playing some good football. I don't think he's right for Carlton. I'd want someone younger for Carlton, but he is a good footballer. But the problem is, if he leaves or he doesn't leave, there's already problems in the club. That's the thing, Mark, right? So it doesn't matter if he leaves or leaves. Already there's problems because he's seen that there's problems. He's not happy, you know. And this is what I was saying about Carlton. The first step is to fix up this culture. Because if there was a good culture, he wouldn't want to leave, right? But he does want to leave. Trust me, we've got the same problem, Mark. So I'm talking about myself.
That's disappointing, Rocco, because when you got players that want to leave like that in your club, you just start to think, you know, the rebuilding and so forth. How many times? How long can we wait, mate? You know what I mean? You need to try and keep these players on board, and for some reason, we just need to get them, you know, believing again. So it comes down to the club, you're saying, but. You can't lose players like that, mate. It's just going to hurt the club for another 10 years, mate. I'm telling you right now. And I can't. Because you're losing your Draper. You're losing now. Ridley wants to go, and you're losing Merrett. These are players that have been playing continuously for the last 5 or 6 years. Obviously,
and you know what?
You can't think about it.
I think about it differently, right? You go, we've been playing them for 5, 6, 7 years, and you've done nothing. Right? You're absolutely shit house, right? You've done nothing. You haven't played finals. You've done nothing, right? So it's time to move on. You've got to move it around, mate. You've got to change it. Like if you keep doing the same thing and you get the same result, that's insanity, bro. And that's with Carlton too. Like we got the 2 best forwards. Oh, they're the fucking best. They're going to be the... What have we done? We made a preliminary. To me, it's time to change. It's time to move on, mate. Let's move. And if it means get rid of Curnow, we got rid of TDK, get rid of Silvani. Beautiful. Off you go, mate. And we'll change it around, mate. Get a new system going. It's not working what you've got, Mark. It's not working.
Yeah.
And maybe a refreshing of some new players. You know, like the captain leaving doesn't mean that it's all over. You know,
certainly not. It's just going to be disappointing knowing that your captain's leaving the club. That hurts the football club, mates. You don't see that happen often. You know what I mean? So
and Curnow saying that he's you know, like he's willing to look elsewhere hurts. You know, but at the end of the day, you go, all right, but done. You know, I've got a question for Jezza. Liam Ryan to St Kilda. I actually was one player I wouldn't have minded at Carlton. He's probably something we need. But what do you think about that? What do you think about Liam Ryan?
Yeah, I was a bit surprised when I heard that that's where he wanted to go, because I don't see that the Saints are any closer to a premiership than the Eagles are. But obviously they're giving him a pretty good deal. It must be financial, because what's he going to do over there that he's not doing here already? He's set up here. He's won a premiership with the club and stuff like that. So is he happy with just one? Because I don't see the Saints getting to a grand final any sooner than the Eagles do that. So I was surprised by it. But for whatever reason, everyone thinks Saints is the place to be at the moment. So they all want to go there and have a crack and play with the $2 million man and see what it's all about. I think he'll be a bit of a loss to the Eagles, because I think he's an important player to us. But he has changed the way he's played this year. He hasn't been that small forward all the time. He's played a little bit up on the wing and through the midfield and stuff like that. And his field kicking wasn't too bad, actually. So I think he will be a bit of a loss, but I think we can cover him. When Rioli went to Port, we thought, geez, that's really, really bad. And we thought we'd miss him, and we did for a while. But we got other players like Elijah Hewitt and stuff like that. There's a few younger kids coming through with small guys who'll be able to play that role. Again, it goes back to the old saying, if he's not happy at the club, obviously there's massive changes coming through. We're changing coaches, we're changing assistant coaches along the line, and some of our head trainer, I think one of our strength and conditioning people have left as well. So there's changes in the club. maybe he's thinking, I don't want to stay for another massive rebuild and stuff. That I want to go somewhere else. So he's off. If he's not part of the rebuild, then you may go. I mean, Harley Reid said at the BNF the other night, saying, look, he's signed on. He's up for the rebuild. He knows it's going to be tough. He's not going in there thinking, oh, we're going to win 10 or 12 games next year. He knows it's going to be tough for the rest of his contract over here. And then if he's happy enough to stay after that, great. If he's not, then he's done the right thing by signing on for a couple of years. So, yeah, I don't know what the attraction is with the Saints, so I really don't.
Well, Enzo has said it. They're going for the money, man. They're paying them Tats Lotto numbers, all of them. Like, you look at every single player, even even Jack. Mate, the word is it's 900 plus for that bloke, right? He's not worth $900,000. And then on top of what you're paying Wanganeen, and on top of what you're paying TDK, and now Liam Ryan's going there, and also there was another play, maybe Iannella, I think, is nominated St Kilda too, you know. So they must have had like fucking how much money in there. I don't know what's going on there, but
I don't know where they're getting it from.
They must have had room. Paperbacks must be back in business.
It'll be, who knows what's going on, but that's the way they're attracting, because you think about it, why would you go to St Kilda? The only reason is money. It's the only reason is for money. So they're paying them big money to get over there. I was going to ask, you think with these players coming in, right? Iannella, you get Liam Ryan, you get TDK, you get Jack. You think it's going to make a difference?
Well, but I'm not sure who those players are replacing in their team, though. That's what I look at. I don't look at their team and like it just talks that their what's his name, Jack Steele, their captain isn't happy and he's looking to move on. Then they're talking about Rowan Marshall, their ruckman. Now, if TDK comes in, what's he going to do? Now, I think Rowan Marshall will be a really bad player for them to lose. I think he's a gun player. So I'm not sure what the players that are in St Kilda at the moment are thinking, where their head would be at, thinking, why are we throwing all this money at these players if we have players like that already?
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like, I can't recall if they've had any big retirements come out of there or anything like that this in the off season. So I'm not sure what they're doing. I would say as a cautionary tale, they should look at what happened with the Eagles when we paid a shitload of money for Tim Kelly. Look what that done to the club. That didn't do us any good. So we went after one player, paid a bucket load of money, and it upset the whole balance of the team. So there's a possibility the same thing could happen there.
Yeah, I agree, and you're absolutely right. I didn't think about that, but you're right. What are these players replacing? Like, why are they getting these players? Like, your club should be getting players that you need to enhance your side. Like, they've already got Marshall. I don't think TDK is going to do much more than what Marshall did. Marshall was pretty good this year. They've got they've just kept Wanganeen. He's a good player, but also getting like Liam Ryan. They got another small forward. They got a couple of good small forwards. Is it going to make a huge difference? So you're probably right. And Gem here, where was it? I lost it. Here said a good point here. Good luck with the Saints, but Premiership they played is actually the complete opposite that wins them, and he's 100% right. Don't think that you're going to win the Premiership by just throwing out a lot of money and picking up these players, because I don't think it'll work. And you're right. I also think that it's going to hurt the club, man, because these big name players that are getting paid 1.7 million, 2 million, I think it's going to affect the rest of the side.
Well, I think what was the stat you gave there the other week, Liam? Like 20% of their salary cap is going on 2 players or something.
Yeah, it's on TDK.
So surely those other players that have put in the hard yards there will be thinking, well, where's my big payday? I've stayed loyal to the club. And they're bringing in all these players from other clubs and they're giving them lots of money. Where's my big payday? So it could have a negative. I think it'll have a negative effect on the club, because I don't actually see the point in it. I don't see why people are thinking St Kilda is the place where we want to go. I think they overachieved a few years ago when they actually made the finals. I was surprised by that. I thought, well, geez, I didn't see them being in the finals at all. But what I saw, the Saints lost to the Eagles this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
I think they're
nowhere near. the top 8 sides.
Time will tell. Next year, time will tell if St Kilda are up there.
I'm sure it will. I can understand.
They need to make the act with these players, and if they don't, there's just all part of the dollar count again. But
the pressure's on them too, man. These big, like when you're on that big contract, it's like wearing in the old days. If you wore the white boots, you better kick a goal. And it's the same now. Well, now it's the black boots actually, but these days, if you're getting paid 1.7 or 1.8, mate, you don't think that next year, every time he fucks up, they're going to be on him. And I've heard people say, but who cares? He's getting paid. Mate, if it keeps building, it's going to affect you, you know what I mean? So, and you don't think every single opposition player is going to be straight into him. So, you take the money, but, mate, you better watch out.
Could affect you in the long run, mate. Money doesn't matter at the moment. Money doesn't matter,
Well, it does for some of these blokes, apparently, And there's been some other moves. We got a couple from Carlton too. As I said, Elijah. I think Elijah, I got it wrong. There might be. We're getting Liam Reddy from Fremantle, I think, which seems to be a half decent ruckman. It's maybe something we need as a backup. So it's nothing special. But Elijah might be a swap for him because I think that was a good move by us. I'm going to ask you about that. With Elijah Holland, he's got a lot of talent, this kid, a lot of talent. I'm disappointed, but he had some troubles in his times, and we gave him a chance, and he's stuffed up again. And Carlton, with 1 year on his contract, have turned around to him and said, you can look elsewhere. Do you think that's a good move?
Yeah, well, the problem is if you're holding on to players that are having some issues outside of football, how much support can you really give them? I mean, at the end of the day, they're there to do a job, and their job is to play football. If they're not playing football, maybe you need to turn around and say, look, do you need a year off? Take a year away from the game altogether, get yourself sorted out, do the right thing. I mean, I'm not sure you can keep, I don't want to use the word babying them all the time, but, you get paid to do something that thousands and thousands of people would love to do. You should be taking every opportunity you can get to do the right thing, get out on the footy field and play good footy. If stuff off the field is still more exciting to you, then perhaps footy is not for you then.
I agree. And I said this last week. I said, I'm sick of Carlton being like a charity. Salvation Army. Yep, come to Carlton if you got problems. Come to Carlton if you want a retirement fund. We'll help you out. You know what? We're not that. And with Elijah, I said, I would give him as much help as he needs outside of the game. Like, if that's what he needs, we've lost your son there. I'll give him as much help as possible, right? But I would be saying you're looking elsewhere. I'm not going to just disregard him and just leave him on the streets. I would help him. But we're not here to help, to get through your problems, man. Like, we need you to play football, yeah? So I think Carlton, because we've got some cultural problems, I believe, I think it was a great move. We sit there and we go, doesn't matter how good you are, right? It's time to move on, man. We need to fix this culture. So I think it's the best move we've done for the whole off season so far. Out of all the players that have gone, TDK, all the coaches, footy directors, everything we've done, I think that's the most important move we've done.
Do you know, Rocco, I've actually been seeing a lot. Elijah Hollins is actually really strongly linked to Richmond now. So I think he asked me last week.
Yeah, would you take
He's someone that we're really considering at the moment. As I said to you last week, I said obviously he's got his off-field issues. It'll all come down to how we manage it. But yeah, I'm hearing that we could get a pretty good deal. And like I said, he's a former top 10 pick. He can play some really quality football. If we can get him in for cheap, it might not be a bad idea for us.
As I said, if you think you can deal with him and fix him up, and because he's got those off-field issues, good luck to you. I think we've tried, and we've got other issues. So, to me, we're done. Like, I don't want to have a player there that gets away with stuff, and then we're getting young kids coming in and just looking at that, and then just like, I don't know, being half-hearted or think they can get away with stuff. I'm over that. We're getting a player next year called the father and son called Harry Dean. And apparently this kid is awesome. Top 5, top defender, has got all the right. I don't want him coming in and seeing a player like Elijah getting away with stuff. I want him to come in there and know that this is what we expect from you. And I think it starts with these sort of decisions. But I'd be happy for him to go to, and you'd probably get him for fuck all, because to tell you the truth, probably a 3rd or 4th rounder or something like that, because if we're asking him to leave with a year to go, we're not expecting much back, So maybe sometimes a club helps. But remember, this is his 2nd club and he's fucked up at both clubs.
That's the thing, yeah. Risk versus reward. That's what it is. Could pay off for us, could backfire.
Yeah, 100%, and that's the risk you got to see you can take. Have you got a strong enough club to take care of that? I'm not here to help. I'm not here as a charity anymore, man. I want to win premierships. I want culture. I want a standard. This year, near the end of the year, players like Walsh and Wiedering have come out and said, no more bullshit. If you don't want to be here, leave. So it's starting to turn. Wright's making decisions, getting rid of people. He's getting rid of assistant coaches that have still got contracts. He doesn't care. So we're going to have a lot of movement off field. So, and I'm as excited as I've ever been off season because I'm seeing the right kind of moves. Now, are we going to get the right people in? I don't know. We'll see what happens. But at the moment, we're doing the right things, getting people out. And we're going to start. We got the new footy director there from Port Adelaide, who's supposed to be a gun, So they're making the right moves, So yeah, that's how it is. And Mark,
yeah, mate.
I think that's the way you should be thinking. You know what I mean? Your club's in a shambles too, man. You got to get that culture right, man. You got to make sure that the players want to be there, the right players. They're not fucking up off field. You know what I mean? That's what you need. That's what you need in your
yeah. And we haven't had a lot of off-field dramas, to be quite honest, as a football club. So
no.
We're being pretty good in that sense of things. But just quickly, like with free agencies and so forth, with Draper, one thing I can't understand what the AFL has done. They've stuffed this up. I don't know why they've brought this free agency into play. Now the players got the right to choose whatever club they want to go to. Hence Sam Draper. We've brought him through the ranks, and now he's just decided to go and pick Brisbane. And then the club has got the right to choose a compensation pick for that.
No, you haven't got a right to choose the compensation pick. It doesn't work.
They're choosing our compensation pick. They're choosing what
they'll decide depending on what he gets paid and all that. So, for example,
yeah, they got the right to choose what picks we get for that player. Is that correct or not?
I mean, you benefited that when you got fucking Ben Mackay.
So he wanted to come to Essendon as a free agent. Is that what you're saying?
Well, with Ben Mackay, when I think what did North Melbourne get for?
Yeah.
They got like a pick 3 or 4 or whatever it was because you were paying him so much money. And that's the same with TDK. We're going to get a top 10 pick because of how much they pay. And in actual fact, Sauce or Jack, because they're paying him so much, we're going to probably end up with a late first rounder for him, which is a bonus for us, But that's how it works. But they decide.
The free agency, the AFL that's created this few years ago, it's going to bite us in the bum, mate, because players now they've got the opportunity to go wherever they want to go to, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to go to the top teams, and the top teams are going to get stronger and the weaker teams are going to get weaker, mate. That's how I see this free agency going. I think they've got to scrape it, get rid of it. They're trying to get rid of the father-son rule at the moment, which is ridiculous, but they're going to keep the free agency going. So, kudos to the player that wants to go where they want to go. They deserve that. But I think this free agency, in the long run, it's going to start hurting these weaker teams because they're not getting compensated for that player to where they want to go. And most of the players are going to go to a stronger team. So I just think it's going to hurt us in the long run, boys. This free agency bullshit. Don't worry about the free agency. Get rid of it, and teams will start being a bit more competitive towards the ladder. So
I think age is right.
I just think it's just a waste of time. Once you get to
something pushed by the Players Association, so that wasn't the AFL. Because what was happening is they weren't getting their work. But should they go to if they're free agency, how does free agency work? Do you know, like, how many years you have to be at a club and all that before you get the free agency?
I think it's an age. I think it's an age thing because Sammy Draper was 3 or 4 years ago, and we elevated him to the list, and now he's a free agent. So he's decided to go obviously for money as well as going to a club that's going to be making finals in the next few years in Brisbane. So how does it benefit your club? How does that work? I don't get how it works.
But what do you want? I don't get what you want done. Like, what do you want done? Like, his contract's finished, right?
Just don't. There's no free agency, mate. Just keep the contracts going. So, sign him up again, or if you want to trade him.
Once you sign your contract and the contract finish, what do you want? I don't get what you want.
Well, yeah, I know what you're referring to, but if you're 25 years old and you sign a 5-year contract, say like for instance Merrett, he's still signed for another 2 years. Yeah. Well, then the club's got more power. Yeah,
that's right. But once that contract's finished, what do you want from the player? I don't get it.
Well, that's where the free agency comes into it, doesn't it?
I understand, but what do you want as your club? Like, you want to hold on to your player and you decide. If you wanted to do that, you would have signed him on for more years, but you didn't, right? You kept him for that long, and now that it's finished, I don't get what you want. Well, what do you want him to do? Of course he's going to.
So what's it called? Why is it a free agency then? It's just a contract that's finished, because the club doesn't get rewarded because the AFL has to compensate the club. The AFL compensates the club. Is that right or not?
Yeah, that's what it is. Right. But so think about it. If it's Sam Draper, if he gets through to the end of this year and he doesn't sign a contract to play on, you missed the deadline to sign him in, he won't have a team to play with. And then he could enter into the draft or something and then get picked up by another team for free. And you get nothing. You lose a player and you get nothing. If he leaves in free agency, at least that way you get a pick out of it. Like if he leaves, yeah, all right, it sucks that he doesn't want to stay with your club. But if you get a pick, let's say pick 10 or something from it, and he turns out to be a gun, it could prove to be good in the long run. Otherwise, you let him walk out the club for free and you get nothing, and he still could end up at Brisbane or wherever he wants to go anyway.
I think you benefit out of it if you think about it, Mark, because again, if he just goes and leaves on his own accord, you get nothing.
So what are players in sign long-term contracts then? If they're able to.
Yeah, well, security. What do you mean? Like if the club's giving you $1 million for the next 5 years, it's your security. But it's also the club security, you know what I mean? Like, they're getting a good player, but they've also got it. But it's your security as a player. I mean, why wouldn't you sign that? That's why you sign contracts, because at the end of the day, you're going to get paid that money regardless now if you play or you don't play, yeah? What do you reckon, Jezza? What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, the whole free agents thing, it's very confusing, right? Because I think we're doing something similar with Oscar Allen. It's the same thing. Like, he's not contracted. He wants to leave and go to Brisbane now. And so we're thinking, okay, well, what we want is we want pick 2. But it's just like Liam said. If we can't make the deal, and it gets to the end of the season and no deal's been made, he just walks out the door for free. I think the only difference is you can't nominate where you go. So you can't turn and say, I want to go to this club, because that club has to trade something to get you then, because then you're on the open market. So anyone could bid for you. So I think that little bit of the free agency is what's important for the players. Okay, this is my preferred destination, and if they don't get any deal done with that, and then they run the gauntlet of ending up anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of security for the player to say, okay, I can get where I want to go, and it's a little bit of security for the clubs thinking, oh, well, I can get a bit of a draft pick on back on this.
Yes.
If it goes to shit, I get nothing. So no one really wins out of it in the end.
But then that player doesn't go to the destination club. Is that correct?
Well, that's my understanding. Is if they get out of the free agency period, they can, if they want to play footy, they got to go into the draft and hope to be picked up.
Yeah. But you're right, because if West Coast offer Oscar Allen a contract and he rejects it, he doesn't play football next year if it's not for free agency.
Yeah.
And if he goes and enters in the draft and goes somewhere else, you lose your captain, and you get nothing in return.
Yeah.
You guys can potentially get picked too, which I really do not want because you'd be stealing our pick too. But you guys might not get it, but that's why, it comes down to management of players and contracts. It's like Carlton, for example, Ali Kerno. Kerno's on a contract. Yeah,
He's
Kerno
on a
can say,
contract,
but Carlton are like, we've got a contract.
Yeah, so they can now, they got the cards or the ball's in their court now because they can decide on the best deal for them, not for Kerno. But the age makes a good point here with Jack Savani leaving. We'll get a better pick under the free agency than if we traded for him. Like if we traded for him, we probably would have only got a second I reckon maybe a third rounder, if anything, But with this, because of the amount of money he's getting paid, I'm hearing we could get a late first rounder. So we're talking 18, 19, 20, something like that. I reckon that's a bloody bargain, and we need it. And we'll use it for Harry Dean because we need the points. So for us, it's a bargain. But if we traded for him, I reckon we would have got a lot less. And that's if he was contracted. But someone like Kerno, who's got a lot of value, it's definitely worth it. You know what I mean? Because then if someone like a Sydney or a Gold Coast want him, if they really want him, because it's going to help their marketing, it's going to help their game, it's going to help everything, they'll pay. They'll pay big time. You know what I mean? And so and it's the same with you, Mark, with Merrett. If another team wants him, they're going to pay. Like if Hawthorn think that Merrett in their midfield is the difference between them winning a premiership or not, which it could be, mate, they'll pay. Yep. They're not going to give you what you want, but they'll pay. You'll get a first rounder and you might get a good player, which I reckon it's a bargain for you guys.
At that age, it's probably worth it, but if he was 5 years younger, you'd probably be a little bit more disappointed. But I think it's 100%. More about the player. It's more about the player these days than the club. That the players have got a lot more, options to look around as compared to 20 years ago, where it was more about the club. Now the player can just go, I want to leave, regardless of the contract or not, or free agency. I just want to go here. I want to go there. What can you trade for me? And it's we're missing the concept of playing for your club these days. It's more about the player, and that's fair enough too. But it's going to get worse before it gets better, I believe. Anyway.
It's the way it is now, man. It's not like the old days when a player used to leave. It was a massive deal, like now we're seeing it every year, man. The amount of good players that are moving around every year is phenomenal, man. It's amazing. But it also helps, man. Man, if you could get 2 or 3 good players into your side, man, it could make a huge difference to where you finish at the end of the year, man. Like for Carlton, like if we're getting 1 or 2 good midfielders and maybe a small forward, that's the difference between us making the 8 and not making the 8. Like at the end of the day, if we get rid of Kerno and all of a sudden, for example, I keep naming him, but I want the type of Butters or a Goulden in there, right? A fast-paced kicking midfielder, goal-kicking midfielder. Remember, we're getting Jagger Smith into the side, who's practically a number 1 pick. He was number 3 last year, so he's going to come in there. And then we get a small forward who I think, because Motlop's apparently looking at Port, so maybe we're looking at, a trade for him, and then you get someone else. Man, that could be the difference between making the top 8 and not. All of a sudden, we look like a different side, or maybe get a winger. You know what I mean? Like I would love a really good winger, So, yeah.
Yeah,
and you don't look at the guy. sorry guys, if you look at Horatio, you had earlier on the Geelong supporters. Look what Geelong do with recycled players. Look what
100%.
Sydney were doing with them back in the early 2000s. They would take almost like a fringe player from a club and turn them into a gun player at their team. So it works for some teams that do it properly. Teams that don't seem to be worried about who's leaving their club or stuff like that. They're like, we need this player. Let's go after them. Let's go
100%.
after them. That doesn't matter. And then when we've got what we want out of them, if one of our players wants to leave, that's fine. We'll go and look for someone else.
Yeah, exactly
100%.
right. That's spot on.
You know who else does it good, unfortunately, is Collingwood. They get the right
Yes.
players for their sides, man. They don't go for the really big names. They just get the player they need, you know what I mean? And you look at it every once in a while. They even get people like, there was that St Kilda player, what's his fucking forward's name there? Membry. I mean, he really, come on, man. He's just an ordinary player. He's a good forward, but he fits their forward line perfectly.
Yes,
certainly
exactly
does.
what they needed. Bobby Hill was another one. He wasn't that great when he came to Collingwood. He was an okay small forward, you know what I mean? They also got that little dweeb, that Switcher, whatever the fucking name is.
Yeah.
But
the guy from Frio, Schultz.
Horatio Fantasia. Comes Horatio Fantasia. Put him.
Well, we got Horatio. So the problem is that we're getting players that don't fit us, and we did the opposite. Right. We're getting like a Zach Williams, who we got him as a midfielder, but he's really a defensive player, and now he's a forward, you know. And then we're looking for big names, and what do we go and get? We go and get McGovern, but we got the wrong McGovern, you know. We pay big money for these players, you know, but that's not what we needed. It's almost like they're getting the name just to appease the supporters, but you're not getting the players that you need. For us, again, we need midfield. We need midfielders. So let's get a couple of midfielders. Let's get a small forward. Yeah, and that's what we need. I don't care about big names and that. I just want good midfielders. And if it means getting rid of someone like Kerno, he's already stated that maybe he wants to leave. Beautiful. Let's make a deal. We could end up with fucking 3 first-rounders this year with those sort of moves. Are we going to, even with Charlie there next year, do I think we'll make finals? Probably not. So it doesn't make a difference to me, man. Like get the midfielders that we need, get the players that we need, and let's move on, you know. So it's going to be an interesting trade period, especially for all of us.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Before we go, let's go into next week's games and we can have a quick look. So we got the first one is the big one on the Friday night, Adelaide and Hawthorn. That's going to be a big game. I don't think Adelaide, I think they're done. I think they're going to go out straight sets, to tell you the truth. They look shot. It looks like maybe they got 1 or 2 injuries out of that game. So, yeah, I'm going for Adelaide for sure. Hawthorn on this one.
Yeah. Adelaide were really disappointing last week. They never looked comfortable in that game at all. They just nothing worked for them. I think the players looked like they just couldn't wait for the game to be over. Yeah. I think they had too much on their minds going into worry about Texas 300 ranking coming back and stuff like that. There was just too many distractions going into the game for them. I don't think those players that had down like Fogarty didn't have any impact on the game. Their captain Dawson, no impact on the game. Tex tried his hardest. Thilthorpe wasn't as good as he could have been. Yeah, they just had probably 5 or 6 of their top line players had no impact. If they all stand up this week, I think it might be a different result. I reckon Hawthorn, again, it's a bit like Fremantle. Hawthorn spends so much time getting in front by that much, and then to be drawn level and almost losing the game, and then you've got to try and go again to win the game. I think they might have wore themselves out a little bit. I think Adelaide have a chance. I'm sticking with Adelaide.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah. No, pretty spot on there. Because they were saying that minor premiers, straight sets, 42 years it's been. So that's a long time to be on top of the ladder and go out straight sets. So going on that stat, I think the Crows again at home. I think the crowd will get behind them, and I think they'll win against the Hawks. They're both inexperienced again, so but I just think home ground advantage. The Crows will get through and win.
Yeah, I think Adelaide were just not prepared for finals footy last week. You could tell they were a bit shocked. They weren't up to the standard. Collingwood, they were a finals team. They were prepared. They got the better of them. I think Adelaide will take a lot from last week, and I think they're going to be ready again. Also, the stat that Mark says is good, but they're at home. They're coming off an 8-day break. Hawthorn's coming off a 6-day break and travel, and a game where they really did have to work hard to hold on and win in the end. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with Adelaide. I reckon they'll bounce back, get the win.
Yeah, and there's a couple of good points here. First of all, this one here, they did concede 72 inside 50. That's a fucking lot. I didn't realise there were that many. But also this one here, Hawthorn played this game. I mean, Adelaide's transition game from the back is really pathetic. Yeah, it's really pathetic. It hasn't been good all year, let alone in the finals. So I think they might. Yeah, I think the finals experience is what got them. Like they shit the bed last week. It was amazing the way they played. They shit the fucking bed, man, and there was nothing. And their captain was absolutely. He was terrible, man. A lot of those players were terrible, and I think you're right. Sorry, I think you're right, Jezza. The thing with Rankin, the 300 games, I mean, they just got distracted, you know what I mean? They had Rankin wasn't playing and they had all that kind of shit going on. Yeah, and Collingwood just put the pressure on them and they collapsed. So I think they're done. I think actually they're done. And I think actually far out, this is going to be another tough game, man. It's the Q clash. So Saturday night, Brisbane versus Gold Coast. Fuck, Gold Coast play good at times, and Brisbane look shocking. And now they've lost Neil. Who else? And I think, Hipwood's out for the rest of the year too. They're getting injuries at the wrong time. I'm going to go Gold Coast.
Wow.
Oh, big call. Jeez, but Brisbane was a bit like Adelaide, to be honest with you. They had a lot of players that didn't step up like they should have in a big game. But Brisbane never known. They were like that last year as well, though. They lost games that you would think they should be in winning conventionally, and they would just lose games, and you think, how could you lose that one? You should be winning that. So I think Neil being out is going to be a problem because you talk about Anderson and our mate Matty Rowell we were talking about before. Those two guys are really good midfielders, and I think they've had a taste for finals football. But, geez, it'd be very hard to see the reigning premiers go out. Geelong got them really good last week. I think they expected Geelong to not be as hard because they felt Geelong had come off some soft games at the end of the year, and they'd had some really tough games. And I thought maybe Brisbane might not have gone in with the right mindset for that game, and I think they'll address that this week, and I think they will get the Suns up there.
To tell you the truth, I hope Brisbane win because I think that Brisbane's probably the best chance to beat Collingwood the week after. That's all I'm thinking about. You know, I think over there, bring Brisbane over there, the experience and everything, they might do it. But I don't know, man. Gold Coast just are playing this game at the moment that could bring them at least another week. But Liam, what do you reckon?
Yeah, it's the same thing as Hawthorn with Gold Coast. Is like they go into that game with no fear. And no one's necessarily expecting them to win, but they can very well pull it off. And with the way Brisbane just played and the couple injuries that they've just picked up.
Yeah, the injuries.
And Gold Coast just pumped them like 6-7 weeks ago. They smacked Brisbane. So that they're going to go in with a lot of confidence. But I'm still backing Brisbane because they are my pick for the flag. I think they need to use their finals experience this week and just show them why they're a top team. And I ain't got the Gabba. They should get the job done, but it's going to be another close game.
Nice. Mark?
Yeah, no, look, congratulations to Gold Coast, mate, winning their first final. But I think that's where it stops from there, mate. So I can't see Brisbane losing 2 finals in a row. So I think Brisbane will bounce back this week and they'll win at home. But well done to Gold Coast and Damien Hardwick for bringing these boys into the finals and winning their first final. They'll be fine, Gold Coast. They'll be right for the next couple of years. They'll continuously make finals and they'll probably get top 4 in the next 2 or 3 years. So good on what they're doing, but I think Brisbane have just got a bit more too much experience and regardless of a couple of players being injured, I think Brisbane at home should win. And if they don't, they might have some problems going forward as well.
Yeah, well, if they lose, but I mean the injuries have got me, Neil, and I don't know. That might have got me. They really look like they're beaten up. I think there might be another player too that might be injured.
I think they've got some young, good players to cater for Neil, mate.
They've got great players, man. That's what gives me. As I said, I hope they win because I think they can beat Collingwood the week after, you know.
Yeah.
But
that's who you want them to play against.
Geelong.
Yeah.
I was going to ask something about the Gold Coast because you guys were celebrating pretty hard at your best and fairest night when Gold Coast beat Fremantle. What did you think of that?
Why not?
You're celebrating your team, but you're cheering the other team losing. That's weird.
Yeah, well, obviously someone with nothing to do is recording people at their best and fairest, cheering on a team, beating their least favourite team. So I don't know. It did make a bit of noise over here, but we're like, well, if that's what you're worried about, if you're worried about the Eagles not supporting you, I think you got a few more problems than just losing the final to Gold Coast. So I wouldn't be putting too much time and effort into it. Might add a bit of spice to the first derby next year.
Look, I don't blame him. I think Liam, if Adelaide, I think if whoever beats Collingwood next week, you'll be cheering pretty hard too, mate, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. It's ABCs. Anyone but Collingwood.
That's right.
That's it, man.
Boys.
What about your mates down in Geelong? You'd be happy to see them have another crack, wouldn't you?
Geelong.
That's what gives you faith. I think Geelong are absolutely
if it's Geelong and Collingwood, we're not staying. We'll go home early.
Far out, man. That'll be tough, man. So anyway. All right. Guys, it's been 3 hours. It's been great. Thanks for everyone for joining us in the chat. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, do all that sort of stuff. That helps us out. Tomorrow night, there is an emergency meeting on this channel. So if you want to hear some stuff, we got an emergency meeting. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going with Carlton. So it'll probably be on about 8 o'clock. So, as I said, these emergency meetings are going to just pop up and we'll try to fix everything at Carlton. So tomorrow night, watch out for that. Yeah, and then back next week and all that. So thanks for all that. Before we go, Bar, I want everyone, listen, man, I know especially for our sides, it's been painful, but I want everyone to celebrate, have a good time because, you know, there is a 21st birthday we have to celebrate and we should celebrate Essendon's 21 years since winning a final. And come on. I've got a cake out there. Everyone.
Right, go.
I've got to be there in a sec. And we've got to also celebrate that.
A can of worms, mate. We've still got 2 more weeks of this show to go, mate. So don't you start, otherwise I'll get Geno out of here.
Oh.
At the end of the day, like the 21st is the 21st. I'm just asking people to celebrate the 21st. But it's a very important birthday to 21 years, man. Like, you've got to be really happy with yourself, man. You can see you got the keys to the city there. You got some cake. You know, it's fantastic. And also, you know, like being the only team that hasn't won a final since 18 clubs have joined the competition. I mean, that's a bloody great achievement. I mean, that if you think about it, that will never happen again. That will never happen. That's the only time it can happen. It will never happen again.
I know.
So
it can happen. It can happen.
It can't happen unless you get a new. No. We've won it. You can't have it since the 18th.
Well, you might not win a final for the next 20 years or something. You just don't know, mate. So just don't.
Don't you understand how this works, Mark? Sometimes, bro, man, do I have to spell it out?
What do you want, mate?
The 18 competition You're the only team that hasn't won. I think that can't happen anymore. That can't happen.
Tassie's coming, mate. So just get with it.
Well, there's a new one. There's Tassie coming, and then you might have back-to-back records.
Well, maybe.
So thanks everyone for joining us. You've been great. Mark, Liam, Jez, we had Scotty, we had Horatio, we had Andreas all joining us. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you catch us next week, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of shit going on in the AFL, because it just seems to be get crazier and crazier as the weeks go. So thanks for everyone for joining. And
thanks, guys.
All good. Have a good week, lads.
Everyone have a good week. And all I got to say is go the mighty Blues, yeah?
Go the mighty Bombers.
Oh, go Eagles.
See you guys.
See you guys.